Fasten your seatbelt. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Chrissie is hilarious.
Chrissie, have you ever heard of the comedian Basha K. Ali?
No, that sounds like something you yell out before you blow up a plane.
30 seconds remaining.
But you know what, good thing to say, I dabbled in stand-up for something. I haven't been disrespectful to you at all.
I was very confused by the title, Everything Everywhere All at Once, because that's also what we call it when Ash takes off his shirt. I shouldn't be up here. I should be in school on the other side of the ocean. Hello, everyone. Welcome to, this is just a live stream. This is not technically we're just adding this in because it's very topical and it involves our favorite person of the moment from the internet, Eliza Bleu. So, but first, before I bring on my wonderful guest, I got some stand-up shows coming up this weekend. I'll be in Rochester, New York for DabbleCon this Friday, February 3rd and Saturday, February 4th. Ooh, wow, a fun little tune that is always very loud at first. Come see me at DabbleCon this weekend at Comedy at the Carlson in Rochester. Myself, Anthony Cumia, Bob Levy, Carl Hamburger, Shuli Egar will all be there doing stand-up this Friday at Comedy at the Carlson. Then I'm going to California at the end of the month. Thursday, February 23rd, I'll be in Pasadena. And then February 24th and 25th, I'll be headlining in San Diego at the Mic Drop Comedy Club. All these California shows. I will have Lila Hart with me opening up the show. She's great. She's so funny. I can't wait. Then I'll be headlining in Staten Island at the Reef at Paradise Island Friday, April 7th. Then to Morris Plains, New Jersey to headline Tiff's Ale House, also known as the Dojo of Comedy, Saturday, April 8th. Then I'm in Dallas, Texas, May 5th and 6th, back at Hyenas. Love that club. Then I'm in Houston for Anime Matsuri in August. That'll be the 10th through the 13th at the George R. Brown Convention Center in Houston. And kind of as part of the convention, but not really with it. But I'm also headlining that weekend in Houston at the Secret Group. So come on out Friday, August 11th. If you're there for the convention, come to the comedy show. It'll be kind of like an informal after party. Should be super fun. All right. This reminds me of the music that's at the end of Simcast. Usually I put on like the flashing lights. Okay. Off it goes. All right. Can we turn it off? Let's turn it off. I'm trying to turn it off. Okay. I got it. Okay. Guys, our guest for tonight, he is the host of the Liberty Lockdown podcast, Mr. Clint Russell. Hello, how are you?
Oh, I'm good, Chrissy. Oh, my God. I can't believe I'm talking about Twitter drama, but here we go.
Do you feel like it's like you want to be above it sometimes?
I tried to. I literally, like, the whole reason I ended up in this arena in the first place, or in this issue in the first place, was because Thaddeus said some wild shit that I had Eliza. I literally invited Eliza on because I was like, well, who do I know that could like push back against claims that, you know, age of consent should be changed? Like, well, she's the only person that I knew of that was like in that arena. So I invited her on.
Okay.
And then I had no inkling of there being controversy a year and a half down the road. So like now in hindsight, you know, everything is just upside down. It's crazy.
And for people who don't know, which I guess includes me, Thaddeus Russell, because the first I ever heard of him was on that episode with you and Eliza. And is he just like known for his age of consent spicy takes, or is he like,
no,
what is he known for? And I guess what was this tweet that came out?
Yeah, he actually came to prominence, or he came into my purview from his appearance on Joe Rogan like 5 years ago, where he was talking about postmodernism. And at the time, I was completely unfamiliar with it. I thought what he had to say about it was insane. But I grew to know the guy over the past couple years, and other than his takes on that particular topic, I think that he's an interesting thinker. He's really like his whole thing is, I'm going to think and talk about the things that you just simply aren't allowed to, and that I think that gets into a lot of trouble. But I don't necessarily think that I don't think he's really a bad guy, just to be honest. I think he's just a college professor who likes to talk about things that you're not allowed to. That's my honest opinion.
You think he just likes to push buttons and exactly poke the beehive, so to speak?
I mean, the name of his podcast is Unregistered, and the intro to it, he's just
oh
talking.
no,
Yeah, he's just talking about these are the topics we're not allowed to discuss, so we're going to do it right now. And so I've had college professors like that. I think that sometimes people, particularly in our current very non-tolerant society of people who have differing viewpoints on taboo subjects, it's like you just assume the worst about people. I could be wrong, though. I mean, I who knows? Maybe I'm wrong about Eliza. I considered her a friend, and I thought she was great, and she was doing the best work in the world to try and take child porn off the social media world. So, and maybe that's not true. I don't know.
Isn't it nuts? It's I had her on 4 times. I never suspected that she was lying. And this can happen, I guess, to anybody. You'd hate that you have to now vet everyone. I mean, what does that even mean, vetting? I don't know, because
you can't prove a negative.
even if I had tried to vet her story, she wouldn't have told me clearly. Because now people try to vet and ask her questions, and she gets very cagey and doesn't want to go into detail. And there have been a lot of conflicting things coming out as far as her age and certain dates. And I mean, I just saw something before we went live that was like a recording of her saying that she was in love with her trafficker. And I've heard things that she's say, it's almost like she's describing you were in a relationship, and you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard, and most of us don't know any human sex trafficking people, so it's we don't even know what questions to ask. We don't know what.
I thought I knew one.
Yeah. Did you get the sense, Clint, would you guys chat a lot? You said you felt like you were friends, so do you feel oh my God, I was deceived, I was hoodwinked in some way? And have you been getting flack from your viewers about platforming her?
Well, because it was a year and a half ago, I don't think anyone really remembered it until today. So the flack will probably be coming, but I don't know why I would catch flack for having someone on who I thought was being completely upfront and authentic about everything she was doing. In hindsight, I guess I could have dug deeper on her story, but like you said, how do I prove a negative? How do I prove that she has never, dealt with these types of things? For the record, I still think there's a real possibility that she was mistreated in some serious fashion, and perhaps she exaggerated on that story, which makes her timeline crazy, which then the cover-up's worse than the crime. I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt because I've hung out with her in person a few times.
Oh, you have? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get the sense when you were hanging out with her in person that things weren't adding up to her story? But you probably weren't hanging out and asking her about her story.
No.
Probably just hanging out as friends, just chilling.
No, we were doing the convention circuit, and we would just hang out and party and drink, and that was it. We were just having a good time, and she seemed like a really authentic, fun person, and I had no reason to suspect anything negative. And honestly, I still don't want to. I don't want to believe that this could not be true. Which is weird because then I'm wishing for her to have been treated terribly.
You said, you said oh, I feel like she was there's a difference between being mistreated in a relationship and claiming to be sex trafficked. I would say most women could say that they have an example of being mistreated in a relationship. My dad freaking threw a chair at me when I was 8. I have an ex-boyfriend who kind of slapped me around a bunch. So it's most women could say, but would I go around saying that I was sex trafficked, that I was, would I start going around me tooing people? Would I try to put, would I try to make a whole career off of it? They're two kind of different things.
No, I agree. And here's the thing, I really wasn't going to get involved with this at all until she started to get. I think. I mean, all of this is like on the outside looking in, and I'm trying to assess what's going on. But my read of things is that it appears that she has been using her relationships in some form or fashion to get people deplatformed that are, asking honest questions and posting publicly available content. And I think that that is terrible, especially as someone who's, I thought was in my circle, hardcore free speech, no censorship. I think that to me is like, I know that's going to strike people as odd, but like that to me is a bigger slight than her story maybe being false, because like if you're say that the story is false and then she comes out and she starts to do these great things, and she's actually getting
Right.
big tech to change their protocols, and she's actually helping survivors, like, okay, then it's a wash, like, yeah, she
Yeah.
lied about how she got to prominence, but then also she's doing great things. I don't care. I'm just being totally honest. But if you then turn around and you try and, deplatform people who are not doing anything wrong, that's actually really bad. And that's something that's happening real time. So I don't know. That's my 2
Yeah,
cents on it.
no, I feel that. It's almost like, okay, if she lies about who she is, that just discredits her among her peers, and it affects her own professional life, and like
Right.
that's her life. But when you zoom out and you go, wow, like Twitter is so vulnerable that a person with a certain a certain set of skills, but a person with a certain charm, charisma, seemingly good intentions can literally sneak in and penetrate Twitter's trust and safety, like the main trust and safety person, and literally like manipulate and get their way when she's not a Twitter employee, but she's been able to get her way in terms of censoring certain people for posting public shit.
That's what it looks
It's
like to me.
wild.
I'm just being
It's
straight, and let me also add, like, I genuinely consider her a friend. Like, I really, really do.
wow.
I have her personal phone number. We've talked on the phone a handful of times. We've texted, like, we've hung out at multiple events. Uh, we're also mutuals on Twitter. So the fact that I had to respond to your little clip today, I'm sure didn't make her happy. That I would imagine that she'll probably block me.
But if you're a friend, she wouldn't block you. You know what I mean?
Well,
You've hung out. Why would she block you? That's what I thought. I thought her and I were cool, and then she blocked me for literally asking, "Why did you block
right.
Brittany Venti?" I said, "I hope," and I wasn't even like, this is my first tweet about it. Wasn't coming after her heart. I was like, "Brittany Venti did nothing wrong. I hope Eliza can see that." And after 4 podcasts and me having her number, I mean, I look back, she's never responded to any of my texts, but like I would text her occasionally about things. I get a block.
Yeah.
So I
That's
don't
how
know. Maybe that's how she works. She tries. She'll hang out. She'll go to Freedom Fest. She'll go to these
right.
things, hang out with people, and then you think that like she's your friend, and then a real friend wouldn't block you over going on a podcast or asking a question on Twitter or like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll
yeah,
give like best case scenario for why she would be doing that is like her story is true. And so anyone that questions it, she feels as if it's a betrayal. However, there is enough evidence now that it requires her addressing it. It just does. I'm sorry. I didn't want to be involved in this at all, but like you have to address these things. You have made a lot of claims that are very public. You've kind of made your name off of this story. And if there are examples where that story falls apart, I think that you have a duty to your base or your fans or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what to call it because of, particularly what she does. It's such a weird thing to say you have fans for being, an advocate in that regard.
sex
Uh,
trafficking fans. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's like, huh? But I think that she has a duty to just answer the questions. And if she can't answer the questions, well, then I guess that says something. But I still want to hold out hope that she'll just do the right thing and not continue to try and deplatform people to keep whatever the deception is a secret. Like
Yeah.
I think it's a terrible, terrible thing to do. I honestly do.
Why be a public persona if nobody can ask you questions about
Well,
anything?
for sure. And also, just to put all my cards on the table, I texted her 6 weeks ago or a month ago when this whole thing first started to happen, and I just said, "Hey, if you need someone to talk to, I'm here." I don't know anything that like back then. I had no idea all of this other stuff that was going to come out. This was like the first time that people
What were
started
you
to,
seeing like 6 weeks ago?
or
Because
maybe
I
it was a
didn't know
month
about
ago.
this till January 20th when she got Venti and
Yeah,
quartering fans.
there was that God, what's his name? There was some
Defango? Manuel Defango?
no, it was someone else. Michael Tracy. So maybe it was 3 weeks ago. I don't know. It felt like a month and a half ago. Um, he put together some thread where he was like questioning everything about her, and she responded in kind, saying like, you know, you challenge me, it makes me stronger, or some shit like that. I don't know. I just felt bad for her. I felt like people were questioning her story unnecessarily because I hadn't seen any evidence that there was anything to be questioning
Hmm.
at that time. So I just reached out saying, hey, if you'd like to talk, I'm here. That's it. And she didn't respond. So I guess at that point I should have known maybe we're not as, friendly as I thought. But I was just trying to like be in her corner because I'm a loyal guy and I will try and defend my friends unless they have messed up. And,
Yeah.
that's
And
where
you
I'm at.
said you were hesitant to get involved, and I think what a lot of, people online are upset that not everyone who's ever platformed her, had her on their show is, like, speaking out and being like, "What
Yeah.
the fuck?" And so I think you're really good the fact that you had that feeling of like, "Oh, I kind of don't wanna get involved." I think that's important to note because it's almost like, because a lot of people are thinking, "Oh, why isn't everyone talking about this? Why isn't Zuby and Michael Malice and Dr. Drew
Right.
and, everyone, shows she's ever been on outraged by this?" Where do you think that comes from? Do you think it's maybe something about being a man not wanting to, like, see receipts about someone's, like, sex trafficking abuse story, or is it just wanting to stay out of drama overall?
I think first and foremost, I haven't built my show off of any sort of like tearing down of somebody, unless it's a political figure. Like sure, I'll shit talk Joe Biden,
Like
but like
someone in power that's abusing their power.
exactly, like that's totally different. Like Fauci,
Not Eliza Bleu.
yeah, Fauci, I'll drag you all day long. Eliza Blue, I'm like, why? Why do I
You
need to
don't
be
think she's
doing
in
this?
power? You don't think she's in a position
Well,
of
that
power?
I think that's the reason that I felt the need to get involved and speak out is because now it does appear that she has some power and she's abusing it. If that's the case, and if that's not the case, please, prove me wrong if you can. I don't know how to prove that that's not
Yeah.
happening, but it's
Only she can do
certainly
that. Only she can come out and say, "Here are definitively all of the dates,
right.
um, and I'm
Well,
gonna name my abuser so that other people can stay away from this person."
yeah.
But it's
Well, I
like,
think that always struck me as odd, to be honest, because and you talked about that with Josie today. Um, if you have been abused by someone and particularly trafficked, good god, um, why would you not want that to be public unless your life is in jeopardy, in which case like why would you be a public figure if your life is in jeopardy? And that there's some incongruence in that story that like it has always made me question it. But at the same time, like when someone goes through trauma, you don't want to question that. So like I'm trying to be like a nice person here. So but yeah, my BS detector was at least it was on like 2, it just wasn't turned up to 11 or anything. Um but I didn't know her well enough to have any harsh assessment. And
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 I
yeah,
think that's
so
what she's kind of been banking off of, the fact that, like, she's in an arena where it's impolite to ask details, and I think she can I think she takes advantage of basically doing something that you're not, kind of allowed to ask questions about. So it's like
yeah,
you can't it's a I compared it to, like, the trans people and their pronouns. It's like, "Well, I'm trans, so you can't critique me ever. You can't ever challenge me. You can't ever call me out on bullshit."
right.
It's like a defense that you put up.
Yeah, it's like an invincibility shield. You're like you can't even penetrate it unless you're like a total savage and you just want to be like, yeah, I'm gonna like Michael Tracy. He did like when he sent out those tweets. I was so shocked. I was like, if you don't have like hard evidence, why are you making these claims? Because it's such a bizarre position to hold. Like, why would first off, like, why would you assume anyone would lie about this? Like, that's the last thing I would assume. Just because I'm not that type of person that would ever do that. So I'm like, it's hard for me to even like put myself in that headspace. But then also like, if you don't know for sure, don't say anything. And that more than anything, that's the position I've been in over the past month is that I don't know. I really don't know. So it puts me in a position of like, okay, well, I usually like to speak out on something, especially if it's a friend, like only if I'm definitive, like, okay, yes, this happened, and yes, this is wrong, and here's what I think about it. But In this situation, like it's just there's a lot of smoke, but I still don't know what the fire is. Like I honestly don't. So
The fire meaning like what are people upset about?
no. I understand why people are upset in terms of like questioning the story, but I haven't seen the fire as in like, oh, this is whole cloth fiction. Like none of this happened. And if that's the case, well then I have to reassess, our friendship anyways, because that's
So
a
you're
level
waiting for like say a documentary or some kind of
I don't want that.
comprehensive. I mean, it's
Believe me.
happening. There is a documentary coming out
Oh, is that really?
on
Oh,
Friday. Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
multi-parts, but
Okay. Well, then I guess I'm going to find out one way or the other, but I didn't want that, but I if I'm going to come to a firm conclusion and like disassociate myself from somebody, I kind of feel as if I need a smoking gun metaphorically. Like I need to actually know, okay, yeah, this is truly whole cloth fiction and this is why she did it and there you
yeah.
go, And
It's
if
almost
that's the
like if
case,
you
that's wild.
and if you feel like you're friends, it's almost like you should be able to ask her like, "Hey, like I'm following what's going on online. Like, can you
Right.
call me and tell me what's up? Like, is this true what they're saying?" Because I'm sure the friends of Eliza's are reaching out to her now, being like, "What the fuck?" Or I don't know. It's
Well, I would imagine she's getting a lot of contact with those type of inquiries from friends, and I, I know a lot of people that know her, and I haven't had anyone convey to me that they're in communication. So
so the sense is that no one is talking to her right now. She's
that that's from my
yeah,
vantage point. Like I could be wrong, obviously, but as far as I know, all the people that I know that know her, no one has conveyed that to me. So take it for what it's worth. I did text her; she didn't respond. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Maybe she's just totally
yeah.
radio silent, or she has a tight inner circle that she's still communicating with. But I just think that the way she's handling it, it's just not good. It's just really not good because there is like truth is the best disinfectant, and like honestly, even if her story was either made up or embellished in some fashion, to just own it would be so much better than what's been happening because like
Yeah,
your
I don't
reputational
think
damage is
I
catastrophic
don't
after you start to
think
get people
people
deplatformed.
people wouldn't have cared if there was no censorship going on here. I think people would be like, "All right, this person lied," and if you individually have a problem with that or don't buy her, you just don't work with her. You don't, have her on
Sure.
your show. You don't say hi to her at a Freedom Fest or whatever. So,
I love that the event that I was at with her. That's wild.
because I rewatched your episode and I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know, I'm just noticing things because I was someone who used to think that we were friendly and friends, and then I was
Right.
like, "Oh, okay. No, I think this is just I think she tries to get close to people. I think she, like a sponge, absorbs the language, the lingo, the environment of whatever group she's trying to, like, get into. I think she's very talented at that. She's like a chameleon. So I wanna get to so this is the episode 102 with Eliza Bleu and Thaddeus Russell. I thought this was interesting because I do notice, like, I don't know, Eliza has ways of, like, getting in with people, and I just, like, I took, like, some notes. Okay, so it just was funny to me because at one point, she said she didn't want to come out as a sex trafficking public survivor because she
Mhm.
said, "Oh, I don't wanna embarrass my family," but she doesn't even go by her given birth name, which is Morthland. She goes by Eliza Bleu, so I'm like, how would you, in your stage name, embarrass your family? And also, why would you embarrass your family if you're working for a good cause?
Right. Well,
I thought that was kinda
unless they just didn't know that it had happened, and I guess that would be a reason not to go public.
but how would her dad, who is a politician, not you know what I mean? Like, I just don't see that happening to a politician's daughter, like, getting to a point unless you are, like, a runaway or something, but
I don't know. I don't know anybody that's been
yeah.
trafficked. So like, I don't know if that's
Yeah.
an unusual story or not.
That's true, that and I think there's definitely room to take advantage there because most people don't know anybody trafficked. Alright, let me see if I can play
data
this
that we
part.
have available completely coincided with what I predicted. I stepped out in the Daily Wire of all publications. I was just asking publications, please print this information about the hotline and vulnerable populations and how the lockdown could affect human trafficking. The Daily Wire asked if I would add my picture and my name. I was very reluctant because I didn't want to embarrass my family. but I said yes because I felt like the need of COVID was.
Like, why wouldn't, if you were trafficked, you wouldn't tell your family, like, hey, I was abused? Like, that's your whole support system, unless you've disowned your family or something. But if that's the case, why would you embarrass them? I don't know. I just
Well,
feel like
keep in
that's
mind
kind
too,
of sus.
she says, I think in this interview, because I rewatched it today because I wanted to figure out if I had like missed something, and I think she says like her parents are still married and they
Yeah,
are great. They're the cutest couple, and so like she doesn't come from a broken home or anything. So I think
which is
that
atypical. Yeah.
I would imagine it's atypical for someone that ends up in that situation. Sure.
I'm gonna play a little more.
I took a lot of hits on Twitter. A lot of people have said horrible things about me that I wouldn't wish on any survivor. But at the end of the day, it kind of stops being about you and
Sure.
stops being about the other survivors. So I don't really care how I feel. Like, how I feel is irrelevant.
Well, that's a beautiful spirit to come at this with. And
She's so
I just want
selfless.
to, before we even dig deeper, I just want to commend you for, making this a big part of your life. Cause I can't even imagine. I mean, I wasn't a victim to this, and, I could still dedicate my life towards helping this. But for someone who has, the emotional turmoil that you experience to proceed in this manner, it's breathtaking to witness. So I just wanted to start by.
Oh my God.
She took your breath away. See, this is, I don't buy it. Oh, it's all about the victims. It's all about the victims. I'm just humble. I'm just a humble, bleach blonde, smoky-eyed angel here. It's like, really, you don't care? It's not about you. Then why are you getting awards? Why are you such a flashy dresser? Why are you trying to hobnob with like the upper echelon of new right podcasting? Why are you at Freedom Fest trying to like fucking, you know what I mean? It's just,
See, this is what bothers me though, is to hear, because I am so sincere there. I am so
you
sincere
are.
that like to imagine having been trafficked for a decade, as her claim was, and then to turn around and be like, I'm going to talk about this every day for the rest of my life. Like, that would be the last thing
Right.
someone like me would do, because I'd be like, oh, that was horrible. I'm going to move on with my life. Come hell
Right.
or high water, I'm never going to interact with this again. So I really, taking it at face value, I was like, what a beautiful
Yeah.
thing to do. Like that's
And this
really self-sacrificial in a
It
lot of
does.
ways.
And of course, you're like, wow, why would I ever question somebody with such a beautiful life purpose? You probably at this point didn't know that she had 4 other names. Like, this
No,
is
I
like
didn't know any of
like
that,
her
of course.
5th identity.
No, I didn't know anything.
She was born Eliza Morthland. Then she was Eliza Cutts when she was, the hairstylist for My Chemical Romance. Then she was Eliza Knows, which was the version of her that was doing World Star Hip Hop videos and like basically a video vixen. Then it was Eliza Seep, supposedly married to somebody from Germany or living in Germany. Also dabbling in modeling. She was with Tyra Banks and went on the Steve Harvey show. She was on Blind Date at some point.
Wow.
And now she's Eliza Bleu, the sex trafficking smoky-eyed angel that no one's supposed to ever question.
Well, I mean, I didn't know any of that at the time, obviously. I don't even think I think this is our first conversation ever. Like, we were just like Twitter mutuals at the time. So like,
I know. I just
I had
felt,
never spoken to her.
I felt kind of, I just took it hook, line, and sinker. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's like, you
me
never
too.
want to think you're being taken for a ride. But I'm watching everything she's saying. It's like everything she's saying is something you can look up online and like recite facts and like recite the definition of human trafficking from the human trafficking website.
Mhm.
Saying that. So thank you for what you do.
Well, also you have to remember there are a lot of women and survivors that have walked before me that made this possible. There are a lot of women. There are a lot of women that took a lot of mudslings in public. When survivors of human trafficking first started stepping forward, they were seen as willing participants in the crime. Women with buyer's remorse or women with drug addiction, mental illness, you name it. They took the hits. I have the easy street. I have it easy. So I kind of zoomed in, the reason I stepped forward was because I saw a survivor on YouTube. I saw a survivor. Her name's Annie. We did a podcast together.
That's her being starstruck right now. That like, oh my God. I don't know. Once you start looking for clues, you're like, oh, she just wants to be famous.
Willing participants in the crime. Women with buyers.
I was trying to get to the part of this interview where she's like, I feel comfortable talking to you because you're a good looking guy. I'm like, she's fucking hitting on you on this interview.
I remember that.
Yes, of course you do.
Because it's not often that women, just hit on you on a
See?
podcast. Yeah.
See, like, wow, we really got along. I don't feel like questioning her story.
But see, I was already giving her all sorts of accolades, so that was like,
yeah,
that wasn't necessary.
You just never. That's the last thing somebody expects. Is like, oh, this person's probably lying about this, and this is just their fifth
No.
personality over the last 10, 15 years.
Literally, it was the furthest thing from my mind. Never even crossed my mind until a year plus later.
I know. I was sticking up for her too. Like as recently as Christmas or New Year's, I was
Me
like,
too.
oh, you're just trying to clout chase on Eliza. And then all of a sudden I just started, I don't know, something clicked. It was probably the censorship. It was probably her censoring like Venti, one of my good friends, and
yes, that's
recording. And then I go,
that's when
what
I
are we hide? What are we trying to hide here? Like, why is she doth protesting so much?
Does anyone know why? Why that particular video? Why?
Oh, we still don't know. And in fact, it's like she's trying to rewrite history by, she got the World Star Hip Hop video taken down from YouTube. She got it taken down from Twitter just by filling out the proper paperwork, so to speak, or going through the proper channels. It to me, it seems like she's taking advantage of a loophole that she helped to create.
Well, I saw that.
Before it was like too hard. It was like before it was like too hard to get material down from Twitter, right? Because the guys that she supposedly worked with and helped had a hard time getting their CP taken down. So now it's like, not only has it, who knows if it's been overcorrected, or it just seems to really be working specifically to Eliza's advantage.
Interesting. Well, God, I have so many questions. So I like it honestly, this is really embarrassing for me now because like looking at it and I'm just like,
oh dude,
just, like,
I'm so not doing this to embarrass you. I'm gonna EFAP my own episode with her probably tomorrow or the next day, because I was the same thing, because like you don't go into this being like, oh, this is the person's fifth personality, and
no, I had no clue.
And
no clue.
Here's a bunch of like music videos this person's been in, and she's talking about how excited she was able to do World Star and how she reached out and made that happen. And then you're like, oh, this person's talking about, okay, so I'm gonna fast forward it to 23, where she basically, it sounds like she kind of, and this, I'm not doing this at all to make you at all look bad, Clint.
No.
It's not the point of this at all. It's like kind of like, I feel like I was taken for a little bit of a ride, and I'm more looking for holes in Eliza's story, because
I totally understand. I'm just saying it's embarrassing because I feel duped. That's all.
Girl, same. Okay, let's
Totally different things. Sometimes they intersect. So I believe that a willing adult sex worker can show up to meet with someone, with a buyer, and be sexually assaulted and potentially sex trafficked. Yes.
So she's basically saying like a prostitute and escort can show up to meet a buyer and be sex trafficked. So there's been many examples of her kind of equating prostitution or escorting to trafficking. Like there's a very popular clip that's going around from Michael Malice's interview where she basically equates trafficking to catfishing or a theft of identity on Twitter.
Yeah, that was very confusing to me, but I do think I understood what she meant in this particular instance, because I think she was just saying that like you can still rape a prostitute. Like if they go into if they go into it and then they decide
trafficking, and it's like,
the trafficking, I don't understand
survivor. She's saying she's a human trafficking survivor,
right? Which means that you like, but then she also says like pimped sometimes, and she'll use that interchangeably, and I'm like, I don't think being pimped is being trafficked, because like you can still leave that. I mean, maybe not always, in which case it would be trafficking, but sometimes it is voluntary. So I'm like, I don't know.
It is. It's exactly. Most people have no fucking clue, which is why she can just she can just run game. She can just be like, oh, here's the deal. And like, I'm even watching this, and it's like, she likes to feel like she's educating people, because then she's in the position of power. People can't question her. Like, but the minute you start going, what are the dates again? Are you sure you were underage? Like, what What age were you at this year? She starts freaking out and like getting triggered and saying, I'm a survivor. You can't ask me questions.
Yeah.
Yes, those things do sometimes intersect. And I believe that, sex workers or willing adult entertainers definitely have the right to consent or not consent. I mean,
I would hope.
Okay, that's all fine. Yeah. And of course, like it's a very kind of like libertarian talking point is like, let people do porn if they want, let people buy porn if they want.
Right.
But then I feel like there's a libertarian issue where you lose a lot of people, and that's when you start talking about age of consent.
Of course.
And it's so sticky and tricky, and like even you say in this episode that you're not really not a fan of porn yourself, but you're like, I won't stop people from doing it. Like people can do what they want.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
well, and for the record, like I did not. Once again, I did not want to have this conversation with Thaddeus either. But he was in such the crossfire, and he actually called me personally and was like, "Hey, can I come in and explain?" And I was like, "If you want to explain, okay, but I got Eliza scheduled, and I'm gonna have her grill you essentially." Like that was the premise of this.
Okay.
So I don't know, crazy. Wait, Forest Mommy's here.
Forest Mommy's here.
Hi.
Oh,
Yeah,
hi.
Clint.
Oh my God, I didn't even know you were coming on this.
I didn't either. Frank just told me, come on. Do you guys think, though, she is being
What?
trafficked by the globalists?
What?
Do you think she's being trafficked by the globalists?
Anything is possible at this point. I'm about to play the clip, Forest Mommy, of what is leading into this clip that was kind of like going around. I think this account called Bluey.
I saw this episode when Clint aired it. I remember I watched this because, again, Clint was all in up on the controversy of Twitter and everything. So I had to watch it.
The Thaddeus controversy, or just...
I don't think I was in any controversy back then.
No, you weren't in it, but because you platformed them.
Yeah, people got upset with me for that, and I have always taken the position that like if I want to have a difficult conversation, like I'm gonna do it regardless of what my audience has to say about it. And honestly, I stand by this interview. Like I think that it's a 2-hour as honest, but as cautious and careful, and like it was a really good discussion. And people are gonna parse it. They're gonna take shit out of context to try and like destroy me over it. I don't give a fuck. Like
nobody wants to destroy you. I mean,
trust me. I've already seen tweets with people like not even taking video segments, but taking clips and saying Eliza didn't push back when Clint Russell referred to. Yeah.
If anything, you were the most pushing back.
I know. I know.
Well, I'm going to play a hefty couple of minutes leading into this discussion of like age of consent. That way, and if you want me to rewind it back even more, I will. But that way people can see the full what led into this discussion and basically like more context.
And that's great. I mean, I'm a survivor of child sexual human trafficking.
She says she is a survivor of child sex trafficking, but then like in other clips, what happened when she was, I don't know. The ages are squirrely.
I can tell you how I feel. I'm not feeling too good about it right now. So we can always talk about how we feel, or we can talk about everybody as a whole, right? So let's talk about the problem as a whole, not how one person feels. Does that make sense?
I mean, I'm talking about many people, but okay, yeah, sure.
Well,
but I mean, you would certainly acknowledge that there are many people who are 13, 14, 15 that have sex with an adult and then feel as if they were taken advantage of too.
Oh,
can you
100%.
Okay, so let's focus.
The reason I brought that up is because Thaddeus's argument, and this is the thing that was actually taken out of context. Thaddeus's argument online was that he knows people that are now adults that had sex when they were 13, 14, 15, and he framed it as that they do not feel as if they were taken advantage of. So people are saying because I said that I'm basically saying like, oh, it's just being taken advantage of. It's not rape. No. It is rape. I'm saying in his framing, are there some people that you would say, okay, yeah, 13, 14, 15, they really didn't consent and it's not a good thing. And I just wanted to make sure that he would agree to that at least, because it seemed as if he was not drawing a line at all originally.
Because he had this one example of like, well, I knew a girl who was 15 and dated for 3 years. Her teacher, that was
her English teacher. Yeah.
Her English teacher that was what, 30 plus years
30,
old?
35, I think he said.
And she didn't feel that there was anything wrong with that. But it's like when you're 15, you're a kid. Like
I think it's terrible.
you're not old enough to know if something is okay or not, and kids are fucking stupid, and you can convince them that things are not good for them, are good for them, that things they might be confused about they actually like. So okay, we'll keep playing it.
So the worst. Okay, so let's pretend like we all have our like utopia. So if I could answer this in utopia, right? In my like perfect ANCAP utopia, each community and each so it'd be each caregiver, parent, and community, including teachers, potential faith leaders, and neighbors, will decide if the child is ready to consent and look at the child's behavior. Do they have a job? How is their education going? Are they cognitive?
I'm sorry, but this makes it sound like Eliza is like, the whole community can decide whether or not a kid can have sex. Because if he has a little lifeguarding job, well, then he's good to go. It's so icky.
Can I clarify? Because
okay.
I'm not going to run cover for it, but I understand the framing by which she is making this statement. The whole premise to this conversation is there a non-state solution to protect kids? That's like every libertarian thought experiment begins with, can we fix this without government? Because we don't want government, but we also don't want kids to be raped. Like, okay, so that's the reason that she's framing it in this fashion, is like, I think that the government fails at everything it does. So can we come up with a better solution to this? And her solution, whether you like it or not, is a separate question. But her solution was, well, what if we have the parents and the church and the school and blah, blah, blah. Now, the reality is the vast majority of rape comes from the parent, the church, the school.
Yes, all the people she's naming.
Yeah, it's ultimately not a great solution, but I understand the reason that she brought it up. And I think that of all the things she said, I think that's one that I don't actually agree with people, flipping out over. So for what it's worth.
I think she started saying it because she's, like you said, the chameleon, and that's how Thaddeus talks. And so then she kind of had to start like going into that conversation like he talks. That was,
because I've never heard her mention ANCAP in any other interview she's ever done.
We need to scrub the internet.
You've heard it, Frank?
He's in the MC a couple times, and I'm like, no. We need to find that and scrub that. I forget where I've seen her say that.
She told me that. A handful of times. Like I saw her at Libertarian like events, so I really thought she was
must be Libertarian. Yeah.
If
you're at an event,
yes, especially.
Well, like, why would you be at a Libertarian event if you aren't a Libertarian?
Oh yeah, did she tell you about her dad being a politician? Did she ever mention that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, that would be relevant. Yeah, I think.
I didn't know that. I didn't know a lot, apparently.
Ugh, none of us did. I don't know. I just think this is a weird.
I understand entirely why people don't like it, but like she's trying to problem solve but still protect kids without the government. That's the premise of this. So if people understand that, I think they'll understand the framing a little bit better. You still don't have to like it. You're totally fine to say, "Oh, that's a fucking terrible idea and you guys suck." Like, okay, but I don't think that she's saying, like kids can just be raped. Like I don't think that's what she's saying.
She's not saying that. It's like everyone in this community would have to decide what the age of consent is based on I don't know what, because I don't know. Like, well, I just don't know how you would go about deciding your own age of consent for your own community.
Well, I mean, that's what we've already done though. Like 18 that's what the community's, I guess, decided. So
but it's almost like Thaddeus is on here to argue that it should be younger, because it's like you're not going to argue for age of consent unless you think it should be younger, right? Like nobody.
Right.
Is he arguing for it to be older? No,
definitely not. And I think he was. I mean, people can watch it for all the nuance that exists within his argument, but he is right that there are different age of consent numbers that exist all over the world, and I personally don't like the topic because I think it's like 18 is fine. Like that's okay. But it has been a consistent, thorn in the side of libertarians simply because we don't like government. So whenever people say like, oh no, we shouldn't have the government, deciding this ought to be up to the father. Like, and honestly, I still think like whatever the age of consent is, like the father, like as a dad, like that's how I'm going to decide what the age of consent is. Like
whatever age pisses you off.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you're alive, then that means that it was permissible.
Oh God. Yeah. I don't know. But what if your dad's not around, or you're like, dad doesn't
Oh,
really
of
give a
course.
shit
No,
or
I
know what's
understand.
up? Yeah.
Yeah, I understand why people, want it to be enshrined in law. I totally get that.
Okay, I'm gonna just like let's go to the end. I feel like
Definitively available to have sex with this individual, and then also look at the history of the individual as well. So does this individual have a history of abuse?
Yep.
And then you go from there.
Yep.
but what if you have someone that like a grown person that doesn't have a history of abuse? Go right ahead to have sex with this 15-year-old. I just it just looks like and I know this is maybe it's like an analytical libertarian space that this conversation is happening in. It's not really happening in reality, but it's like
Right.
it's hard to justify like, well, if he's a good person, let him have sex with the 14-year-old. He's he's got a 401k. He has a clean criminal record. Let him have at it.
Yeah. No, I
So
I think that this is more of a global conversation because there are many cultures like Africa, Latin America, where there are, 14
Yeah.
and 15-year-olds that get married. Like that's not unheard of. So I think that's more the context in which we're having this kind of theoretical
Right.
discussion, but whatever.
Yeah. This is like a
Yeah, there you go. Saudi Arabia, good example.
I'm definitely not I hope you don't feel, Clint, that I'm trying to like, I don't know, make
No,
you
not at all.
feel a way.
I
think
as I said, anybody thinks that they have a problem with what I say in this interview, please go and watch it, and we can
Yeah.
have a discussion. I stand by it. Like I think that I
Yeah.
handled a really really third rail brutal topic in about as well a way as I could have.
Yeah, and the fact that you even like had this guy on to hear him out is I think it's always good to have controversial people on and just be like, yeah, like let's talk this through.
that's
Yeah.
the answer. And I feel that these are conversations because in different cultures, you cannot turn your back on different cultures and you have to respect them. But in an ANCAP society, you also have to expect that if someone engages in a relationship where it's not seen by the community, by the very small community, as agreed upon, you have to accept the consequences. That's the answer.
I agree with everything you just said 100%.
That's the answer. But you weren't adding that nuance. But Thad, you were not adding that nuance on Twitter, and you know it. And I'm not trying to be mean to you. Like I'm cool. Like we're cool. But I'm just like you weren't adding that on. You weren't adding that in, and I was like, yo, that's
Yeah, so it looks like she's trying to like almost be like, here is why people called you out.
Exactly. No, that's
Twitter.
why. Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly the framing of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what's so weird about this is like now the controversy went from the bottom part of the screen to the top left. And it's like, what? Who knew that this interview would be such a freaking nuclear bomb?
All of the interviews with her are nuclear bombs because everyone's going through and being like, huh, that's kind of weird. Huh, that's kind of weird.
That's true, I guess. But I mean, given the content of this actual discussion is like it's the super nuke.
Yeah. And then I think there's an interesting part a little bit later on where you guys get into, what should be done with someone who is like a pedo or a trafficker or an abuser. Like what, most people give the obvious answer of like wood chipper.
Right.
But I think her answer to this is a little bit interesting.
right.
Yeah,
Well,
yes,
I
but
mean,
not
I don't know
every
though.
law though. So
here I am being like more harsh on pedophiles. Like if I came across someone raping a child, I'm very likely to do serious bodily damage to him, which might be illegal. So is that not okay?
I mean, it's up to you. You know the consequences of that under the current system. It's not for me to decide, but or what
Well,
you.
if it was my son, for sure, but really any kid. So is it not okay to do that?
I'm from a different school of thought. I'm really nuanced with that. I feel like abusers, pimps, pedophiles should be studied. We have a desperate need to study these folks because I think you probably get more to the grind, like idea of why the crime is happening in the first place. Is it like a pattern of abuse? Is it abuse in the home? Is it, this is understudied, and I'm like one of the only advocates in the United States that will serve survivors that are also convicted abusers as well. So I have a strong compassion for folks that, I don't know why. it's probably because I have like a very like Jungian like a sense of myself where I can recognize my own shadow.
Wow.
So because I'm able to like look at that and say like, okay, I'm capable of doing ABCD, not with children per se, but just dark, very dark things. It's not that I have compassion for folks. It's just like I have a desperate need to understand them because I want to solve the crime.
Okay, so I think your approach is better than mine.
Look at my face. Look at my face. I'm like, I don't think that that approach is better than yours. I'm like,
you're like, I can recognize my own darkness. I see myself in the abusers. I don't know. Yeah, your face is like
that's where like my eyebrows are definitely like, okay, there's something happening here. Like I don't really know at the time, but I'm like, this is strange.
What
this
does
is just
Jungian
strange.
even mean? Like she's like, I
Carl
have a
Jung.
Jungian sense of I know it's Carl Jung, but what does it mean I have a Jungian sense of myself?
I think it's wanting to analyze the psychology behind a criminal or something like that.
Wow. Okay. So I mean, I just think that's interesting that she says that. Like she's like, I want to study them because it's like I almost like she's sounding like she's saying I see myself in them. I have compassion for them. I don't know. It's like we're definitely not hearing the whole story.
I love this freeze frame.
Yeah, this should be your.
I like. What did I get myself into?
Oh no.
Wasn't it after this? Then they found more stuff that Thad had said. I think it was like after that, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
And then it just got
there was
worse.
another wild interview after that he had done.
But you know what? Like, good for you. I think it's good to talk to people who like who a lot of other people wouldn't talk to. Like people get mad at me. I've had Gavin McGinnis, Anthony Cumia on. I've had Owen Benjamin on.
Yep.
I've gotten shit for having Sebastian Gorka on. I've gotten shit for going on Megyn Kelly's podcast. So you're always going to get shit for either having someone or going on someone's show. And I think it's good to have that's one of the reasons I started a podcast is to have people on who were like overly censored or the internet has misunderstood in some way.
Just keep in mind too, people like you and I are constantly dodging the censorship bullets. So like for me, I have an automatic kinship to someone who is like deplatformed from everywhere. Like I am so ride or die for Alex Jones because like he's like the ultimate banned guy. So like I just always will have an affinity for like trying to have a conversation with someone I'm not supposed to. Maybe that gets me in trouble sometimes. I don't really care. That just for everyone's backstory understanding, like my primary goal wasn't really to rehabilitate Thaddeus in this interview. It was I thought that there was some value to be found in the discussion between a survivor and someone who thinks that age of consent ought to be changed. And I thought like having those polarities clash with one another, I thought could be really productive potentially. Whether or not people agree that it was productive, that's up to them to decide. But and then the last note that I thought was valuable was like there are a lot of people who aren't predators that are on sex offender registries in this country.
Right, who like pee in public a couple of times,
exactly.
or
there's a litany.
Only example I know of that.
Fuck in the car. If you fuck in a car and get busted, you can get that.
If you're fucking in the car, why would someone like in the gas tank?
Like in the car.
In it. Because it's like in public, it's like lewd and lascivious behavior or whatever.
Yes, I'm familiar. Fucking in a car.
You're like, come on, like you haven't done that, Chrissie. Come on.
Once, many years ago.
Me too. I lost my virginity in a car, actually. I think that's the last time I did. Yeah, a couple months ago.
To completion. All right.
So that was the other reason I thought that there might be value there. I was like, hey, this is actually something that I think does need to be reformed. That you don't have people who aren't predators that have their entire lives ruined because they were drunk and peed somewhere. So that was it.
I feel that. For Nave, Clint doesn't know what EFAP means, but as a fan of both EFAP and Clint, I welcome you to explain it. EFAP is every frame a pause. It's like when you go through a clip or an episode and you pause it every couple of minutes to talk about something. Like I want to make a point here. It's like transformative content, I guess, or it's a way to explain some shit. I didn't realize that. I feel like I assume everyone knows what EFAP means. Russell Hall,
I had no idea.
Her brand ain't gonna survive this debacle, but who knows? Maybe it will. I don't even know
I think
anymore.
if she has some semblance of an explanation, it could be salvaged to a certain extent, but the radio silence and the cryptic tweets in instead of just answering these fairly obvious questions, I just think it's the worst possible way to handle it. I really don't
Right.
understand what's going on.
Like, people have questions about her and her timeline, but then she's tweeting about, "Oh, if you think, if you're trying to if you're using me to take down Elon," and then she'll mention Kanye West, and I'll be like, "Girl, none of this. You're making this about other things and people. Like, people have questions about you specific.
Right.
Stop making this about Elon." Like, I don't know. Yeah, I think but I don't know how much more time she wants to have go by before she wants to start clearing these things up.
Yeah.
It's
Well, and
and
I think that the other thing I'd like to add is like there's a lot of people that are just watching this because they like to see someone get destroyed. And I just want to be very clear. I don't like this. I don't like it at all. I don't want to think that a
goodbye. No, I'm kidding.
no, I'm just saying I don't want people to think that like I want her to be destroyed at all. Like I do not want her
I
to
don't
be
want that
destroyed.
either. I
Yeah,
don't want that
so
either.
I just want to make it explicit because a lot of people are going to watch this and say like,
In case
"Oh,
she's
he's just,
watching.
he's in this to, get clicks or whatever." It's like, no, absolutely not. I just wanted people to understand the full picture a little bit better because the clip is going to be out there and people are going to be asking questions and I want people to understand, my vantage point on things and that all of my interactions up until today have been very positive. So for what it's worth.
Yeah. I would hope my best case scenario for her is like she tomorrow morning does a live stream and goes, here's all everyone's notes. I made concerns over the last 10 days.
Right.
I'm going to go through one by one all these questions. I'm going to keep my DMs open or whatever. People can super chat, people can just comment. I
I'd
will
love that.
address the questions. I'm going to do fucking as long as it takes and
Right.
go through everyone's concerns and be fucking honest. Like not just doing talking points, not rattling off statistics, not name dropping, not talking
no
about all
cryptic shit at all.
not talking about her award or like the accolades, how great like just go through your dates and your timeline and apologize because there's real fans and followers of hers who are heartbroken right now because and even one in particular, this guy Daniel that I was speaking with who reached out to her in a very vulnerable way, being like, I looked up to you, like we were chatting, I thought we were friends, I was vulnerable, I talked to you about my assault or whatever, shared some private details, and she just referred him to whatever law firm is handling her PR right now. So I'm like,
oh, really?
She's acting like someone who doesn't give a fuck about her so-called friends and followers. And
why does she have a law firm that's defending her right now?
It's what's it called? NCOS?
What's that?
Frank, who's the law firm that's defending her right now?
I don't know.
Is she being sued?
I
don't understand why she has a law firm at all.
It's NCOSE, which is maybe that's the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. She referred him to the legal department at NCOSE, I believe it was. So she hasn't been really responding to people with concerns. Eliza, I know.
That was clever.
Forced name change for 5. She was hitting on Tim hard on his show too. She's trying to attach herself to people with clout the way that dogs get stuck together.
I don't even know what that last part means, but Forrest Mommy, did you ever suspect anything?
I always am skeptical of everyone's story if I don't know them. But if you think they're actually helping and doing something, sometimes I'm like, okay, whatever. But as this has gone on, it's just wow. And then then she's going turning into queen bitch about everything, and it's like, okay, that doesn't help anything.
I didn't suspect anything either. I felt like an idiot.
I know I would if I had hung out with her too. I would have a blast. I know I'd have a blast hanging out with her too.
She is a party. She is so much fun. it's just devastating if this is all BS. It's
what's
crazy.
up, umbrella guy? And maybe that's what she's better suited to do, is just like be a fun time. Maybe she doesn't need to like go around saying that she's a victim of something. Like
Well,
she can
that's
still
the thing.
do good work
She's
and be fun at festivals. You don't like have
100%.
to also claim that you're
She's a
something you're
very
not.
charismatic person. Very. Like, I just, for the life of me, I can't figure out why you would take this angle. It's really perplexing.
Yeah, and it all started from censoring a public music video that was not even nude or all that crazy to look at. Like, I don't know if you
Honestly,
watched it, Clint.
No, I did.
History
That
Listener
was the
Hip Hop.
first. That was the first time that I actually got upset, because up until then I was like, okay, maybe there's some embellishment. Like, it just, none of it really mattered to me. But then when it started to be like, oh, you're censoring people for sharing public stuff, like, why? Why is this happening?
Yeah, not good. Craig Stouse, I bet she cornered Elon for a Tesla the same way she got 50% from Hotep Jesus. Oh, that was a funny clip too. Godzilla, reason for older age is it correlates to schooling. Is that true?
I don't even know what that
I mean,
means.
like, I think he's talking
For
about
age
age
of
of
consent.
consent.
Oh,
What, because you graduate high school at like 17?
I don't know why. I don't know if schooling is
I'll
why,
look
but
that up. Yeah, you can also like not finish school if you want. Jennifer Lawrence was the first woman to take part in the workforce. She's also the first woman to use knee pads, just breaking the ice a little. Thank you,
God bless her.
Mugskins. She really was such a pioneer of so many things. The squid, before Romeo and Juliet laws, there were men getting put on a list where they,
Right.
when they turn 18, because their girlfriend is 16 or 17, even though they had prior relationship before the dude turned 18. Yeah, that's great. I mean, you're both kids. You're both, that's a high school relationship.
That was a real issue for a long time. Like, up until, I don't know, sometime in the 2000s, I think they came out with the Romeo and Juliet laws. But yeah, I mean, those are like the gray area issues that I thought would be worth, like, because no one wants to have these conversations. And it's like, it's tragic that those guys who are like totally consensual, they're both kids, essentially 17, 16, then they become 18, 17. Like, there's no reason to have your life ruined over that. But no one wants to speak out about it because it's so taboo. So I was like, well, fuck it, I'll do it.
Yeah, Clint having the hard conversations.
Yeah.
JVP music. Clint, mommy, you may or may not hear some JVP originals and Farron's documentary.
Oh, shit.
Time will tell. What's JVP?
JVP music. He actually did the he's a music producer. He did the theme song for my show.
Oh, okay, cool. Time will tell. You've got good people on, Chrissy.
Thanks, JVP.
Thanks, JVP. Alvaro Buendia. Conversation with a key file and a line grifter can be very productive. It's all caps, so he means business.
Well, he sent $20, so you get it read, dude. I don't know. Look. One, I don't think that Thaddeus is that, and two, yeah, maybe, I don't know.
You don't
think Eliza will stop? Like, when you keep getting away, that's like how psychopaths keep going and going, right? Like, that's how the globalists are. Like, is there gonna be a point where she's gonna like implode or something? Because you can't keep hiding it. Like,
I felt like I was biting my tongue.
She can keep doing her work, and by that, I think she mostly means a lot of retweeting, like that. You can keep doing her important retweeting work. But yeah, is she going to get hired for speaking events and invited to festivals?
Like the FTX guy. I saw someone in the chat bring that up. So he did a TED Talk, right?
Yeah,
so
the New York Times will still have her come speak, apparently, based off of Sam Bankman-Fried. Look, I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's upsetting.
I thought that the conversation would have been productive. I'm sorry.
Are you getting attacked? I haven't even looked at Twitter. Are you getting attacked?
This shit is all dropping within the past few hours. I've been recording like for the past 4 hours, so I don't have a clue what's going on, to be honest. But if people are upset, I hope that they'll go watch it, honestly, because I think that you'll come away far less upset with me than you probably feel right now.
Don't be upset with Clint. He's just the host.
Yeah.
Sad to see a cause distracting us from the cause.
That's the problem when I think the globalists are like putting her up to it. Anytime they can put someone up to it to like to discredit like
Forrest Mommy is female Alex Jones, in case you were wondering.
Oh, sorry.
The globalists.
Whatever you want to call them.
I have the documents.
I got won my appeal on YouTube, so maybe I'm magic right now. I don't know. But I don't know. I feel like she's been put there specifically to discredit the whole cause. Because
that was the theory I heard in one of the Twitter spaces, is that she could be some sort of plant, or she's like a psyop to make us all take less seriously the human trafficking movement, because she's full of shit, so let's stop caring about it as an issue. I don't know.
Let me make a quick note to your audience, because it's a little bit bigger than mine. I'm sitting on 2 strikes on YouTube right now because I had James Lindsay on. I told you in pre-show, and there's a distinct chance that video of her gets reported and I get a 3rd strike over this. And if that happens, like, I need people to rally for me, because I don't deserve to be permabanned for an episode that's 18 months old just because someone in it doesn't want that content to be out there. So please.
I mean, I would say tell Eliza not to strike you, because she's been striking all of the fucking episodes and things she's been in.
I know, but like, what do you think? You think me sending her another text message is going to get her not to do it? Like,
yeah, you should text her right now. You should
no, I think don't be paranoid. You'll be okay.
Okay.
Just text her right now. Be like, Eliza, if we're really friends, you won't strike my episode.
Well, I mean, it would just be so crazy if that happens, because
it's been retarded.
It's been sitting up for a year and a half. But the reason I bring it up is because
you said like taking down a music video that's been up for 6 years that no one had a problem with.
Well, this is what I'm nervous about, and you said that there was whatever the minute clip that you pulled from that you put on, and it got taken down. Is that true?
It was taken down, and then the guy's account came back. What was his name? Blue Anon. So I don't know what happened, if it was some kind of aberration in the system, but the Blue Anon account appears to be back up, but it looked like his whole account was taken down.
Wow.
And from what it looked like, I was like, oh wow, he's
just based off of a minute from my episode.
Who knows?
Okay.
Like, it's been happening. People have been getting their clips of her taken down, and some people just for mentioning her or adding her too many times, like, they can claim harassment. So it's like a minefield.
I just don't. That to me is really disturbing.
It really is. Like, you have you do an appearance, you have a conversation with somebody, and then I just don't like it a year or 2 years later.
Yeah, man, that's terrible.
I think.
And honestly, if she were to call me up and say, "Hey, I want this to be taken down," I'd probably do it, because I don't really care. It's been up for a year and a half. Like,
yeah,
who cares? But if you get me struck, though, if you get my 3rd strike and you get me nuked, that'd be horrific.
You would take it down at this point if she asked you. At this point, you would do it.
But to avoid getting my channel,
there was
nuked?
nothing in that. You know what I mean? Like, if that's an episode that you feel like you're proud of, why should you have to take it down?
Because I'm on 2 strikes and I'm horrified. I'm just being honest.
Like, right, she's not worth losing a channel over.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, I think you'll be okay. Don't be paranoid. I'm not trying to get you paranoid. I'm just saying, like, it's.
I've just seen a lot of people fall. Like, it gets you nervous.
Yeah, you're gonna be okay.
All right. Thank you.
I don't understand from Jeffy, Chrissy, what opinions make you conservative? I know I get lumped in with conservatives frequently, but I don't know. I think I'm probably more conservative now than I was like 10 years ago. But then again, I'm friends with a lot of adult film stars and only girls who do OnlyFans, and clearly I've had sex before marriage, and I mean, clearly I'm engaged to somebody who has a kid, so it's like I don't know how conservative I really am. I'll have to get back to you on that, Jeffy. David Setliff, the Carl Jung or Jungian thing is about the duality of man. Every good quality has its bad side.
Oh, isn't that the oh no, that's Solzhenitsyn. The line between good and evil runs through the middle of the hearts of every man. Anyways, not the point.
It sounds poetic. R. James, I politely asked Cassandra Fairbanks if it's true Venti won't be on Timcast now due to CF being so close with Eliza. I was blocked. Yeah, I don't really understand.
Who's CF?
Beef.
Oh, Cassandra.
Cassandra, Timcast Booker.
I like Cassandra a lot, so I want everyone to stop fighting.
Everyone stop fighting. You heard it here first.
I for real love everybody. That's the shittiest thing about all this, is that, like, I literally just am nice to everybody, and then I just get sucked into the bullshit. Like, I don't
So the
want
moral of
this.
the story is
So
don't
early
be
on,
nice to
too.
everyone.
Yeah, I guess that's the moral. I got to be more of a dick.
The minute you started getting bigger, you became a target.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
Something tells me Forrest Mommy might be quite a serious shoe person. What do you say to that?
Oh shit! I didn't even realize that was all shoes.
Not that I wear them anymore, but yes.
Oh, those are just the decorative ones. All right, couple more. Sup, watch Part of the Problem.
Dude, what are
Thank
you doing? If you're
Brian.
gonna come in here, Brian, and plug a show, you plug Liberty Lockdown. You don't plug my homie Dave's show.
Don't be
Son of a bitch.
plugging other shows. Top Lobster, I have info that will lead to Eliza's arrest. Oh, thank you, Top Lobster. I mean, I feel like a few people
Top's
do.
my homie on Tower Gang.
few people
He
do
actually
at this
did send
point.
me. He did send me DMs that I've decided not to share. But
Oh yeah.
he does. I think he's got pretty solid evidence that or confirmation that she does have Elon's ear. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty obvious. But I don't know. Before we went live, Frank said he unfollowed her on Twitter.
A bold
He's
move,
been
Frank.
railing against her. I was afraid he was going to get banned too. Then Frank was going to be in the banned club.
Oh, Alan Reese, is this getting too much like a bubble and destroying Eliza Bleu just because? I don't want her destroyed. Eliza Bleu doesn't have to tell anyone about her details of trafficking if she was, even though I don't believe her.
Well, that's kind of a problem.
Like, I don't want to know. I don't care to know. Like, just get out. Just get out
Right.
of my face.
That's kind of how I feel, though, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, just get everybody unbanned.
Right. Just leave everybody alone and fine.
Yeah, stop banning people for shit that is public.
Yeah. It's really honestly like that's my biggest ask of her. And if she wants to go hard in the paint like this, well then you need to answer these questions because I need to have evidence that like what these people are doing is actually messed up because from face value it looks as if they're not doing anything messed up.
Yeah. It's the thing is like just okay, keep lying if you want, live your life, change your name again, just unblock all these people. Like tell whoever you're dealing with at Twitter, Ella, to just like
be
stop
cool, man.
coming for people that are posting public shit you've done.
Right.
Two more. Chank Uger Sweaty Gun. Love you, Clint. I'm just not on Twitter anymore. I got suspended for calling Jack Poso a naughty word, so I just deleted my account. Oh no.
Oh, great name though. Sank Uger's Sweaty Gun.
Sweaty Gun. Inside
hard
of
G. Hard G. YouTube.
For the people, by the people. That would be sweet. Oleg, go Frosk. I am not qualified. Armagod. Breaking. Eliza was abducted by aliens.
Cool.
But she's into that, I think. What's up, Josie? Josie says sup. Oh, thank you, everyone except Farron. Oh, that's an inside joke.
Hey, quartering, follow me.
Get 3,000 people here and I'll come on. Oh God, we're a ways from that.
Bummer.
Jeremy David, Paul Giamatti plus Louis C.K.
He's saying that's what I look like.
Equals Clint. Okay. You're the product of two gay parents.
I do. I've never gotten Paul Giamatti, and that's extraordinarily offensive. But I have gotten a Louis C.K. one. So usually it's American History X. Means I need to get in shape if people think I'm looking more like Louis.
Louis just means like you'll bounce back after a controversy. You look like someone who's jerked off in front of women.
Well, yeah,
which means you still got it.
That's why Clint wants to hang out with comedians so bad. He wants to get in on that action.
Do you really?
What? Jerking off in front of women? Of course.
Want to hang out with me? The quartering. Thanks, quartering. Thank you, everyone, for supporting me, except Clout Goblins. Oh boy, they're lurking.
Hey, I don't know the quartering, but for real, like the reason I was willing to engage is because of him and the other people that got nuked for no reason. I really like, for me, that's a big deal. Like, I do not like to see that, especially from my camp. Like, we're all supposed to be adamantly opposed to that.
Free speech. Remember, someone even said they would die on the hill of free speech.
Yeah.
A wise woman once said they would die on the hill of free speech. Jeremy, you are drunk, but you have great coffee. Thank you, Keek Lord. And from Nick V and M's, I would make a Twitter, but I don't know nothing about coding. There you go. So, in summary, I don't know. I guess we all have to vet our people better. You know what? I didn't vet either of you guys before.
Chrissy, are you really a stand-up comic? I've never seen you do comedy.
Yeah. Be like, I know you have an album, but I haven't seen it.
Well, the funny thing is, people, especially in our circles, because like everyone thinks everyone's a Fed. My story is that I retired in my 30s after running a mortgage company. No one believes me. But
why not?
Because it's a rare story. Like, oh yeah, so you ran a multi-million-dollar company and then you shut it down to talk about fucking lockdowns on a podcast.
To talk about age
Sure,
of consent.
Yeah. Right. So, but it's true. That is my actual story, and whatever.
We're gonna need to see proof of that company somehow.
I'll send you the tax returns.
But it's all about like that wouldn't matter. Nobody would care about that. All it has to do is like, are you currently grifting and trying to get people to send you money so you can go on a pandemic vacation?
Yeah, that's true.
The quartering has ninja grifted all his friends underneath their focus on Eliza's grift. He is a professional. I don't think he's a ninja grifter. He literally let himself be suspended from Twitter for over a week just to have Britney's back, and apparently Twitter deleted his tweets to have him come back on. I don't even think he deleted his own, but quartering, maybe you can clarify that if you're still here. David, send the top lobster the invite link. Mnemonic tube. Elon Musk is no longer following the Eliza Bleu account. How can you even check that? Like, you can just go to Elon's
you can look at his following
thing and see if he's following her. We have to scroll through all of them.
You got to be a special type of autist to go scrolling through all those, but some people do.
I couldn't do that. Let me see. I'm gonna send quartering the link if he wants to jump on, because I would like to know if he deleted his own tweet to get his account back, or if Twitter deleted it for him. Quartering, if you can hear me.
The reason I was asking about if that account got nuked because of a clip from my video, one, I don't even think I have like copyright, because like I clicked the little button that people are able to cut and clip and share my stuff on YouTube. So I don't understand how they could have gotten it taken down on some sort of copyright or something.
From Twitter. Well, I think there is a system on Twitter that, like, if you literally just go through the proper channels, you can have something taken down. Like,
but it's my content though. Like,
right?
That's mine.
Yeah.
Right? So why should anybody else be able to make that claim? It's just fascinating. Like, I don't understand how any of this
Isn't that
stuff is
crazy
happening.
too? And that's what she was able to do for World Star. Like, it wasn't her content anymore. She did it. She was paid.
Yeah.
She voluntarily signed up
And
for it.
those dudes even were like, yeah, we had a contract. Like, that's ours. I was like, what?
Quartering's not coming on a live stream with so few cleavages. All right, that's fair.
Whatever, bro.
That's fair.
Let's go.
Oh, my boobs were trafficked, so they're sitting in traffic right now.
Clint's are bigger than mine, so.
Hepa lumps. I was at Liza's speech for Freedom Fest this year. Mentioned Clint's episode. She said she changed her opinion on the topic. She might try and take it down for real. What? I don't mean. I listened through the episode except for like the last 10 minutes because I ran out of time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the degree to which you've explained it, Clint, clarifies some things. The clip by itself does make it sound like she's saying, in a perfect fantasy world, adults get to decide what age kids have sex.
Yes. Well, and for the record, like a minute later, we clarify that like referring to this as our fantasy world is a terrible way to say it, because we're like, fantasy, this is not what we're fantasizing about. Like, this is a problem solving thought experiment.
Utopia.
Yeah. So whatever.
Yeah.
People are either going to, actually check it out, or they're just going to take it out of context and be upset. It's up to them.
Yeah. Don't be upset. Go listen to it. Dalamar, the quartering is a case study on why you do not white knight. You can white knight if you want, if it's for a good cause.
I think if you do it for the right reason, it's great.
Yeah. What's up, Adam? Hi, y'all. Clint, FM, Chrissy, 3 of my faves. Okay, got 2 more. Ford. Forced name change. I think our humble being merchant is more Kung Flu Panda than Grift Ninja. Okay.
I don't understand any of these references. Yo, bro.
Zach Nix. Thank you so much. Holy crap, dude. Thank you. With Twitter users self-locking themselves, this is why I stuck on Minds even when Elon bought Twitter. Now questionable people have somehow locked people's accounts and everyone else locked their accounts for, quote, reasons. Minds isn't broken as much, just saying. Right, but not everybody is on Minds and everyone is on Twitter because everyone is on Twitter. So it's like a...
It's the same reason we vote for Republicans and Democrats.
Ugh.
It's like everyone's going to do it, and there's no reason to be on the third one.
Right. And people get annoyed with having to like repost or retweet to Truth Social, to Getter.
Yeah.
I mean, is Getter even still a thing?
Yeah, it sucks.
It's
Hey, what was that reference though with the everyone going private? Like, I don't even know. I've been off Twitter all day. I don't know what that means.
Somebody said that apparently your Twitter gets like more activity or more amplified if you set it to private.
Oh,
And I
no,
only did it
that's
for, like,
true.
maybe 10 minutes and then I put it back because I was like, I don't even fucking know if this works. You think that's true?
Oh, it's definitely true because I have a few of the people that I follow that have done it, and I swear to God, as I'm scrolling my feed, I'll see the same tweet from them like 4 times. Like they have been thrown to the top of the list of scrolling prominence. It's bizarre.
Okay. That's good. Okay, I had another clip.
Oh, it's my Twitter wife.
You have a Twitter wife?
I've got 2. It's Forrest Mommy and Josie.
Oh my God, I didn't know you had Twitter wives.
No, I'm the side girlfriend. I'm just the side.
Wow.
What did I just come into?
I don't know.
So many ladies. Is that even really you, Josie, or are you airbrushed? Is this a...
I'm airbrushed. Actually, like my makeup's all coming off and stuff. This is bad, Josie.
I'll be back in 10 seconds.
Okay. Clint's gonna go shit his pants because he's worried about his YouTube account. He's gonna be fine. Don't be worried, Clint. I don't know. We all got duped. Duped by Eliza. Okay, this was an interesting clip that I found from when Eliza went on Candace Horrorbox, aka Eva Lovia's podcast from about a year ago. And was there a particular part of this interview that we wanted to highlight? Just the whole thing? Okay. Okay.
Do you find that there's like a lack of empathy or sympathy when it comes to adults that are being trafficked? Because I kind of see that where it's like, oh, well, she's old enough to figure it out. And I don't think people can understand or maybe necessarily appreciate the complexities of these situations. And it's not that easy.
Good question.
The majority of people that are victims of trafficking are over 18 or 18 or over. I think it's like, I want to say estimated out of that 60 million, it's like 20-ish million that are underage. But again, I have it like, I'm not super up to date on the statistics. And I don't think that they've honestly been really updated since COVID either.
Yeah, we're still kind of waiting to see. I mean, I've seen the early ramifications of the lockdowns and everything were really horrible on human trafficking. Still kind of waiting to see the full picture, but
is that a Tesla shirt she's wearing?
Yeah. Wow.
do I
fucking
think
wild.
that, you know, I find that the part that's most difficult for folks to really understand is the coercive human trafficking. You know, the force, you know, when people say sex slave, that forced human trafficking is easy for people to understand or maybe have sympathy for. The coercive aspect is really difficult for folks to wrap their head around, like those trauma
bonds.
Like, I mean, I was in love with my abuser. So and I still have difficulty wanting to press charges.
So this is why she doesn't want to name her trafficker, because she was in love or still is in love with him and does not want to press charges.
Right.
So it's like, are you really trying to help? What if he's out trafficking somebody else then? What if he felt, I don't know.
What about those survivors? Yeah, I think it's a totally fair question. Like, if you're going to do it, you're probably going to do it again, you would think. So
Yeah.
wouldn't you want that person to be stopped somehow?
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
And this is something that a lot of people don't talk about because they're so hyper focused on the force that they wouldn't understand that, like, the whole time I pretty much, could have walked to the police department. You know what I mean? Like, that part's really difficult for folks to understand. That's why I feel like letting people know it is similar to domestic violence in that way, where you can just be, it's like you keep going back, even though it might not be healthy, or even, sometimes maybe to.
But how is this different than, say, just like a bad relationship?
Well, if he's basically telling you have to go sleep with these men and give me all the money that you get for it, that would be different
But
than a
then
bad relationship.
wouldn't she have said that at some point? Like, I was forced to
She
sleep
said
with
at
these
one
people for
point,
money.
at one point she'd said that she was sold for $600, that I can't remember what she said that on. She said it on a podcast that she was sold for $600. And I don't know if she was sold to this alleged trafficker for $600 or where that came from. But I also noticed every time she lies, she shifts her eyes. I guess would be my left every single time watch.
Has anyone ever confirmed that she actually received a free Tesla? Because everyone keeps saying that. I don't know if that's true.
It's just a fun thing to say. Yeah, that.
Okay, so it's just a joke. Okay, I didn't realize.
Who knows? I mean, it might be real. I
mean, does she drive a Tesla? Because that would be interesting.
That would be the smoking gun right there. If there's
like, why is she wearing a fucking Tesla shirt? I'm so confused.
We all know why, because she woke up at Elon's and had nothing to wear.
How old is this interview?
From last year.
Okay.
Just like 1 year old.
Dead.
Let me see. Yeah, it says 1 year ago, so it doesn't give the exact date. Okay, I'm gonna keep playing.
Different addictions that folks have. It's like, it's not right. You know something in your gut, it's not right, but you just keep going back, even though there's a high potential that you could be harmed.
So where does that relationship develop, that aspect of it? Like, how do you start to feel like you love for this predator, right? Like I think that is really hard for people that haven't experienced it to wrap their head around. But when you do compare it to domestic violence, I want to say on average, it takes the victim 9 times to actually leave, to not return.
It took me a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times to try to leave.
Every single time.
It took me so many times I quit saying I'm done.
I mean, this just sounds like I had an ex and I just couldn't stop going back to the D. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she won't explain the transactional details that are supposedly related to this trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
Which would clear everything up.
Which would clear everything up, because as of right now, it just sounds like you had an ex that you couldn't really break away from. Which a lot of us have had. So, yeah.
Forever. I just say I'm done today, because I don't want to look stupid and go back and see, these abusers are master manipulators. They understand what your vulnerabilities are, and they know how to play on you. It's almost like folks do understand a little bit, like Stockholm syndrome.
Right.
It is that. I mean, I was basically brainwashed, and they're also really skilled at this. I always say, if these abusers put their intelligence and their ability to get things done towards something good or powerful,
like being a sex trafficking advocate.
Hot meat kettle.
But they don't. They want to do it a
this
different way.
This is incredible projection.
Right? I just think there's a real lack of the details about the receipts. Like explain how you were sold. There were 2 men. You saw money exchanged or you didn't. Like, what you would certainly hear some of the conversation around your being sold. Like, you're telling me you have no details about that, and you were sold for $500-$600, whatever it was. It's a lot of
$600 to, like, what did she say? A well-known photographer and a well-known athlete. So $600. Ouch.
But meanwhile, we have just a few short years earlier, she is on that video with the all white background saying that she turned down basically an escorting job for 150 grand. So sex for money is already on the table in this woman's life.
Yeah.
I would do it for 150K if anybody's out there.
If anyone's listening. I've done it for a large Greek salad. I mean, who am I to talk?
Oh, my homeboy. Tower gang in the building. Top Lobster. What's up, brother?
What's up, guys? Am I supposed to? I'm not supposed to talk about when you sex trafficked me, right? At Timcast?
I'd prefer you not.
I mean, yeah, that's on topic.
No one watches this anyway. All right, cool. What's up, guys?
Top Lobster. We're
Hi.
going through this clip, but I did want to get, what's your sense of, do you have an opinion on what's going on? Have you been following this stuff closely? What would you like? Do you care, basically?
Oh, this is going to be a great answer because this guy doesn't give a shit about anything.
No, I actually do sort of care. Now, is there a question before I even say anything? Has anything come to light about her role in like the removal of child porn on Twitter?
Well,
Nothing aside from her
everyone
claims.
understood that she had done it, but what we've heard from Gabe Hoffman from An Open Secret, which is a documentary that highlights like pedos in Hollywood, that he has basically a whole thread on how she took credit for that, and it was not the case. It was not due to her, crucial Twitter advocacy retweeting work that she's doing. So I've seen arguments be made that it necessarily was not her handiwork.
Okay, yeah. So for me, like that was the saving grace, or the one thing where it's like I don't really care what else she does. I don't concern myself with what she's doing personally, what she's lying about. If her actions were good, and like for the kids, that's the most important thing.
For sure.
If that's not true, that's a that's a whole nother bag of worms.
If that comes out, man, it would be bad. Like if it
I
comes
got
out that
fights over that.
What do you mean?
The child porn off of Twitter with like news people, because I'm like, why aren't you reporting about the child porn coming off of Twitter? And if it was all fucking fake, like,
yeah, she was one of the only people that I saw constantly like ringing that bell, even with old Twitter. So
constantly for years.
Constantly, yeah. And I thought that was super important. If that was a lie, I don't know. It is what it is. I do.
It turns out she must have had inside information to be able to have all that information. She'd tweet out and say, "This is happening now." Do threads where, oh, here's an update on what's happening with this. Here's an update on those hashtags. And did she have a connection inside Twitter?
Wow.
Yeah, that's worth exploring for sure. I'm gonna play the rest of this little clippy,
and it definitely had me in its grip. And, I actually feel like it might still a little bit, just because I was challenged a couple months ago to take some steps that would get some justice for myself, and I turned it down.
So she still refuses to like report this trafficker, to name this person. Like she even has the opportunity to do it, and she's like, no, I won't do it.
So when that happens, what's going on in your head? Like, what's that inner dialogue?
Well, generally, so the advocate me is like super strong. I'm like a beast, you know what I mean? So like my life now, very strong, beast mode, savage, like no holds barred. I was mad this morning because no publication had covered the second minor survivor that stepped forward to sue Twitter. So I was.
Daily Caller did today.
Here's the thing is like Candace asks her a very personal question about her. What is going through your mind? You just told me that you won't report your trafficker. You won't name him. What is going through your head? What are you wrestling with? What are you conflicted with that is keeping you from naming your trafficker? But what does she immediately do? She starts talking about a very public case, a very public I guess abuse or trafficking survivor, that she immediately flips it to be not about her. And it's like, is she buying time, or is she just hoping
This
that
is
she
another
protects-
thing. Yeah, this is another thing, because even with Clint's interview, when she was like, "Oh, but it's not about me. It's not about me," so she's able to deflect, so she doesn't have to talk about herself. She's able
Right.
to deflect away from her at any moment and talk about the people and that she's helping.
Yeah.
So
And it's
that's
just like,
interesting.
we've seen her resort to flirting. We've seen her resort to, oh, let's talk about your book. Oh, let's talk about you. Oh, you're so handsome. Oh, I can't wait to see you at Freedom Fest. And like all of these little things distract from very specific questions about her story. And this
Yeah,
is like,
it all comes out in hindsight.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago when she was on Timcast, she was talking about the Andrew Tate thing, and she did the same kind of like song and dance, but with someone else's story. That was bothersome to me because she's throwing all
Something
kinds of
struck me wrong there.
yeah, she's throwing accusations at Andrew Tate. I don't know the guy. I mean, I listen to some of his content. He might be good, might be bad. Definitely, kind of shady character, but like you're not giving any details, so we don't know
yeah.
what was going on here, and it seems like more of the same with her story. I don't know if that's like the way she's talking or if there's like a pattern here.
I feel
Yeah.
like that flagged a lot of people, the way that she was like knew something about Andrew Tate but couldn't say anything about it. It felt like she was that flagged me weird, and this is before really anything happened like that. That was suspicious to me, the way that she handled the Andrew Tate thing, very very vaguely, but like she knew something. It was almost like she was trying to get into that circle too, because it was a big deal and it was going to become a big thing.
I mean,
don't
that
know.
keeps you
it's all-
current. That keeps people wanting to
Yeah.
interview and talk to you and have you on their
Exactly.
show. It's like, oh, you're in the middle of this very big trending topic.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you
Exactly.
guys are giving Tim a little bit of shit, like at least the people online for like not picking a side. But during that interview, that was the most impressed that I've ever been with Tim, and I've been quite critical of him. He actually gave her some very good, like stern pushback. Wasn't
Yeah.
letting her just get away with that bullshit.
I think people are unfairly jumping down Tim's throat here. I just think that like, yeah, could he address the censorship piece of it? Sure. But like he doesn't want to get into like the drama. And also as a man, I'm sure he doesn't want to get into straight up saying, oh, this woman is lying about being a victim or being an abuse survivor. Like nobody, it's a tricky
I don't
thing for
think
anybody
people
to
appreciate
declare.
I don't think people appreciate how big of a thing that is to say, because like assume for a second that she was, but it was just the story was exaggerated and that's why her timeline's off. Okay, well then now you've said that she's not a victim and she is. That's a pretty
Right.
terrible position to be in. So I would like to be certain before I make that claim, which is why I haven't made the claim. And I've consistently said, like, I don't know what the truth is, but it doesn't look good. I'll just be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of a derivative off of.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
It's kind
Josie.
of a derivative off Me Too, almost like you weren't allowed to really push back on any of the Me Too
Exactly.
victims.
Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't allowed to object, push back, like Justice Kavanaugh, for instance, weren't allowed to be logical with any of that. It was all completely illogical stuff, and you just had to kind of sit there and take it. So that was
Believe all women. Yeah.
Believe all women, and sex trafficking is it's a variation of that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna
sex
say,
trafficking.
shout out to Shane Cashman, because I have a feeling in a couple of weeks we'll have a lot more light shed on what's going on. Didn't he fly out to her ranch or whatever? He's
Yes,
interviewing
like
her.
a couple weeks ago before this story popped off with her. So
I just
maybe
hope he's still there.
That guy, he's
Shane
in the
is-
right place
Shane is
at the right
brilliant.
time.
He's
Shane
such
is
a great
brilliant. We're
writer.
gonna
Like
get
that
into-
piece is going to be unbelievable. Like whatever it consists of, it's going to be unbelievable. But I honestly like that could be where the truth of whatever the truth is, that could be where we find it.
He's gonna find it. He has a way of doing that. He's brilliant.
you don't think like he'll be partial to her, because there is a clip of him saying like, oh, I love Eliza, and they're like really getting along on Timcast. Like you don't think that will
No, I think if
hamper
if
his
he
objectiveness?
oh no, of course it's going to make it more challenging. But I think that if she's going to tell the truth, this is going to be the best possible way to do it. Like she can actually like fully express it and have someone who cares about her, who likes her, to convey it. Like I think it would be the best possible avenue for her to do it. Whether or not she will, I don't know.
That's true.
Yeah, It does seem like a good opportunity to come clean about some shit.
Yeah.
I want to see this Daily Caller. Oh, let me check.
Well, because I was on there, took us. Every journalist, trust me, these journalists know. They know what it is with me. I'm a beast. I was on them all weekend. I started on Friday and just would not let up with them. They're like, oh, this girl's annoying. But I'm an advocate. I'm an activist. You know what I mean? I'm crazy. So there's the advocate me is very strong. Like, I'm like, but the survivor me is sometimes still weak. Just sometimes, you know.
I think you're right. It was the Daily Wire.
Yeah. I wasn't giving them a choice. I was like, you're writing about this today. I'm like, if you don't write it, I'm gonna.
Let's see if she answers the question. Let's see if she ever gets around to actually answering her question.
You know, I'm crazy. I like it though. That's how you get it done. But you know, I think to myself, if that was my child, I would want someone to be talking about this.
Oh my God. Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't
think that's what got me super involved with like my research hole was becoming a mom and just
Okay, yeah. So this is like she's moved her on to a different question. And now Candace is going to talk about being a mom. But like she was able to dance her way around the question of like, what is going through your head? Why won't you report your trafficker? She's like, oh, the advocate part of me is really strong. I'm a beast, you know, and the survivor part of me is really weak. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is, like, without knowing what we know now, like that's a fair portrayal. Like I could imagine that as like, okay, now I put myself into the activist mode. So like I'm a dog here, but like I'm still screwed up because of what I went through. Like that, from my vantage point back then, that made sense. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It is tough. I don't want her to like.
She's very good at this.
Yeah.
She's very manipulative. It's impressive.
And it's hard. And I think it's harder. I don't know. Is it easier for women to see these tactics than men?
Probably. Because y'all are crazy too.
What the fuck does that mean?
It means you're crazy, yo. We think you're crazy. I think
that's fair.
I don't want to speak for Clint, but it seems like Clint is trying to just do a show and make like the best content possible, and like not necessarily worrying about the backstory of this person like thoroughly.
Or if
I
they're
never really worried
legitimate
about
or
it.
anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah. If you tell me what you tell me, I'm like, fine. And then if you're proven a liar later on, I'm like, whatever, you lied. So we're trying to do some other shit. I don't know what the ladies here are trying to do. He's trying to get into the nitty gritty, maybe.
No, for the record though, like I do care about people being truthful, but like the backstory to me was never really what interested me. It was like, you're doing something that's helping improve the world. Like that's
good.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So I didn't really care about the backstory. And to be honest, I still don't really care about the backstory, but I do care about her actions today. You know, that concerns me far more.
So you don't care if that like she's changed her name 4 times. You don't care that like she's had GoFundMe's so that she can go on vacation during the pandemic. You don't care that she's had GoFundMe's to fund her to go to Freedom Fest when she might not have actually been sex trafficked herself.
Oh, no. If she's using a backstory that's fraudulent to make money, that is bad. Let me be very, very straightforward on that. But at the same time, like if she's using that because she's dedicating her entire life to try and save kids, like, is that the worst thing in the world? I don't know. I don't think so. It's not super noble.
Kids. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
it sounds like, you know, to us, she's wants to save kids. That's great. But then if you look at it from what we allegedly know now, she's exploiting kids to build herself up. I mean, it's horrifying, like, especially because we don't know exactly what she's done at this point for kids. Has she just exploited them the whole time? Like, has she actually done anything for kids?
That's a big question.
Yeah. And if that's the case, then obviously that changes my assessment of things. But like,
of course,
I'm explaining it based off of what I thought was happening.
Yeah.
You know,
let me ask you guys a serious question and answer me seriously. None of you respect the grift even a little bit, because It's amazing.
I think it is amazing because she knew
I'm
it's not enough to be I just care about this cause. The fact that you are also a victim of said thing, it's brilliant because nobody can question you. It gives people sympathy. It gets you out of a lot of basically having to answer a lot of questions, and I think it also helps you climb the ladder of the podcasting. Like she stopped answering my messages like when she got onto podcasts bigger than mine, which told me something, like, okay,
She was growing.
I'm merely a rung on the ladder here.
I respect that grip.
And then when you look back and you're like, oh, she did the blind date thing. She did music videos. She was on the Steve Harvey show. She was a scene stir. Like she auditioned for American Idol. Everything about this woman's past is she wants to be famous, and however that happens is kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, I just didn't know any of that at the time. Yeah,
It's
I knew
kind of
none
like
of that.
Alex Stein's path a little bit, but I mean, at least he's like out there being like comical. We know what he's doing. He's not using children. So there's a lot of people like that in this movement where they kind of, you look into their past and it's like, oh, you've been trying to get a little bit of stardom any way you can. And I think the libertarian movement is a good way for women to get it. No offense, guys. It just seems that way. There's another one in our ranks too, and she's coming up fast. So God bless, respect the grip. I don't know what to say about it.
Oh, don't give her that shine.
No.
Yeah. But it happens every month or so.
You know, a thing about Eliza too, she had said, I was trafficked for the last 10 years. So why on earth would we look into that? Why would we look at what she's been actually doing the last 10 years? We have no reason to doubt her, no reason to not give her the benefit of the doubt. Like, why would you lie about that? But the last 10 years is where all the dramas come up.
She's denied that her dad is her dad. She's denied having a dad who was a former congressman, or what was his position. So it's just sussy. It's V-sus.
Hey, Frank, if you could pull up the interview from my show, an hour and 40 minutes is I didn't know that we were going to go through the entire video, so I would like you to play that clip because it is one of the in
I'll pull it
hindsight.
up.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Whoever's in charge. Yeah.
I'm a one-man band. Okay, hour and 40.
Hour and like 39:45. Like,
oh, what's this about?
Here, just check it out.
I wasn't trying to play the whole clip either. I just was like,
no, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I didn't intend to do this, but since we watched so much of it, this was one of the more interesting lines that I saw.
Okay. Do we need to set this up? Do you remember like the context of it, or
I think people will know why I think it's interesting.
Okay.
Their benefit.
Mm-hmm.
They will call arrests of willing adult entertainers. Human trafficking. We've saved this many. We've saved this many. That's why I'm very conscientious of not posting like sting bus, because a lot of times they are arresting folks. So how that actually plays out in real life is when you arrest a willing adult sex worker, someone that is there by their own fruition, like they chose to be there. What that does is that puts a stain on their record. So when
it's so weird, like with Ava, with Candace Horvath, she's like, where was the smiles? Where was the bubbliness? But whenever she's on with guys, she's very bubbly and smiley. I've noticed. It's weird.
At Subway to get a job. They have to put that on there.
Right.
And then that leaves them more vulnerable and at risk for being trafficked. And what I try to do is those more like harm reduction methods that would not leave them in a more vulnerable place to be exploited and trafficked. If someone decides to leave the sex industry or sex worker industry, I want them to have options available. And I don't think that they should be charged with those crimes for doing things as willing adults. I think that the law enforcement would be, I think that law enforcement really takes a lot of credit for arresting willing adult sex workers and claiming them as human trafficking victims. And it's really sad.
Wow.
Is that what you wanted to show, Clint?
I think it might be right after this, but if it's not, then I don't want to have you keep watching the whole thing. But basically, she says something to the effect of, I've kept my story straight all these years, like painfully straight. She said something to that effect, and I was like, why would it be painful to keep your story straight? Like that.
Painfully straight. Yeah. Like it is a pain for her to have to keep.
Yeah, it just struck
the
like
story.
In hindsight, because I said I rewatched it today. In hindsight, I was like, why? Why would you say that? That's such a strange thing to say. And maybe it's just because my alarm bells are all going off that I'm reading too much into it, but it struck me as very strange. So it's somewhere within this minute, I think, but
Okay.
that's
breaks
basically
my
what
heart.
it says.
Yeah. Again, I'm sorry. I disagree
Painfully.
with you completely. I agree with you completely on that. And what you sound just like the sex worker activists I know very well. That's what they say. And it does terrible harm to them.
But
Yeah.
but I don't so they aren't my primary focus. My primary
Right.
focus is
Children.
on horrific
Children.
child sexual
Sure.
exploitation and human rights violations. So I'm not here as an advocate for sex workers.
Gotcha. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
100%.
I've continuously said the same thing. My story has never changed. I literally have been so consistent. It's like painful. But
Oh,
Isn't that fucking weird?
It's like I am
That is
so
so-
annoyed with having to tell my story so many times. I'm literally pained by having to rehash the truth over and over again.
I guess that would be the best framing of it. The other framing of it is like it's painful to have to keep this BS going.
Or let's play devil's advocate. It is maybe she did go through some real trauma and it's painful to have to keep rehashing it. Then again, why, if you can't rehash it, why are you doing this? Because it's
Sure.
part of your job as a public person who's apparently gone through this.
Yeah. So that was the line that, like, in hindsight, I was like, okay, that's unusual.
Wow.
I don't know. Just my 2 cents.
That's worth noting. Let's see. Did anything else come after this?
I truly feel in my gut that sex workers could probably be some of my biggest allies, and I have found some amazing allies from.
It does seem like she's reading. I've heard a few people say that in the chat, and I've heard people say that on other appearances. She appears to be reading off of a screen.
It looks like there's notes. It does.
But why do you need notes? Like, it's your story. You know it backwards and forwards.
Yeah, but
because
like maybe
it's
she's got,
painful.
but maybe she's got some talking points that she wants to make sure she gets to. It's not like
That's
it's possible. I don't know.
It
I
is
don't.
possible.
I don't do any notes, so it's weird to me. But
I mean, yeah, the notes I took for this was like I went through and time stamped and
well, that's different.
highlighted like each clip that it might have been.
Yeah, but your delivery
Yeah.
is like very like live. You know, it's not like I can tell that this is not pre-written whenever you're talking. So, but I kind of do get that sense as well. Yeah, listening to her speak.
Interesting. My hope for her is like, yeah, please do some. Let's see some. I don't want to be like, let's see proof of this good work you're doing, but like, you have some shit to clear up, and it sucks that the censorship had to happen for something that was public. And that's the thing is like, to me, it looks like you're lying because why else would you hide a public music video of you being like a video vixen
and not,
Does
not
she
just,
keep notes? Maybe she keeps notes so she keeps her stories straight, because she was reading
Maybe.
notes on Clint's podcast, but then the one that was just last year, she also sounded like she was reading notes.
Yeah.
So maybe it's what she did to try to keep her stories in line.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I really think that 10 seconds where she says, you know, my story's been
Painfully.
consistent the whole time, painfully consistent. I was like, that's a fucking
Ooh.
weird way to frame it. It just is.
Stop
It's just
fucking
weird.
questioning me, people. Stop it.
I honestly hope that she just decides like, okay, I'm going to acquiesce. I'm going to either come clean or deliver some evidence of whatever she went through, because it's at this point there's just so many questions
You'd
that
have
have
to
be
name
answered.
the person. You have to name the person, and not say, "Oh, it was an athlete. Oh, it was a photographer. Oh, it was this year. No, it was that year."
I think maybe an even bigger issue here is like what I was talking about before, the CP stuff that was removed. So the timeline is she's been complaining about it for a long time. Elon takes over Twitter. We got Twitter 2.0. All of a sudden, with the new Twitter, CP is being removed constantly. Like they're bragging about it. They're saying like it's up. There is no CP, and if there is, it's up and it's taken down. And then we see that there's an established line of communication between Eliza and Elon and his like legal staff or whatever that is, the Twitter safety. So if she's not responsible for spearheading this, or at least aiding in taking this down or pointing them in the right direction, what is the connection? Why is she connected to Elon and Twitter in this manner? That's kind of important to me. because that to me at least, that's like the big thing in this story. Not if she's lying, who cares? Probably she's lying.
For the record, I tend to believe that her constantly bombarding them with this issue probably did play somewhat of a role. So like, that's a good thing. I mean, it is. It's a good thing. I don't know.
If it didn't, then why is there a connection? That's an even crazier.
Yeah,
thing
well,
And if Elon unfollowed her, though,
well,
if
that's
if
because
Elon
he's been-
unfollowed her just now, then I mean,
Well, that's
that'll
because
say
he's been
something.
tagged. He's been tagged in a bunch of like these exposés or whatever they're doing about her. Did you see her American Idol strap? No, I did not.
We're gonna watch that tomorrow on Tower Gang, guys.
Are we gonna watch that? Oh, I'm excited.
We are absolutely going to watch that on Tower Gang. But oh god, I had another point. What was it? Oh, why did she tweet that picture of a NASA coffee cup? Is she like?
Cool.
Is she? Because I know that SpaceX.
Maybe she's
has,
gonna go into space. Maybe that's her next plan. She's gonna change her last name again and then go into space, and then we'll never hear from her.
Eliza Space.
That's when I knew
Eliza
she was a
Mars.
liar.
I really want to help space trafficking victims.
There's no trafficking in space. I'm pretty sure. So
all the rest of the shit she said was cool, but once she showed the NASA cup, I was like, something is wrong here because space is
we
fake,
did not land on the moon,
obviously.
and yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
maybe she's trying to say space is fake, and so am I.
The moon landing was faked. Maybe it's conspiracy theories next.
There is a thread. Open Secret. Gabe Hoffman has retweeted this. I think Quartering did as well. I think on this thread it is where there's proof that she didn't actually. She's not to be credited with the Twitter removing of CSAM or whatever. I think this whole
She was just retweeting it. It sounds like she was just retweeting it. She had an inside source maybe, but according to them, she wasn't directly involved at all. But it was perceived to everybody watching that she was spearheading this, that it was her idea.
Yeah.
So that still doesn't explain the connection to like deep inside.
That's the
new
one
Twitter.
how she got into Twitter. Yeah.
It could just be because protecting children is Elon's passion. He loves kids. It was the first thing he wanted to do, I think, before he even knew Eliza existed. He wanted to get the CP off of Twitter. That was like a big deal. It was a priority to him. So I think she found a way in. And the more she got in there, the more she tagged him, the more, people caught on to her story and retweeted, and then they'd tag him and, this is an actual trafficking victim, and I think he just bought into her grift like the rest of us,
She
like
was
he
very
had no reason to doubt
proactive.
her.
Enough to get
I think that's what it was.
enough to get the ear of like the safety of the lady that runs Twitter safety.
She's only got 27,000 followers, so I mean she's getting alerts and stuff if she's tagged in anything. But I mean, Elon's good. Elon talks to everybody. Elon's talked to me. Elon's a nice guy, so he'll reach out definitely when it comes to child, CP. He's gonna.
It's a good cause, and
piques his interest. Exactly.
Yeah, it's a subject that people were complaining about with old Twitter. So here he is coming in, buying Twitter.
Exactly, and I think she saw that and she exploited it.
And you guys are mad at that grift? Man.
No.
You guys are hating. That's the
mad at the grift.
She can come on my podcast if she wants. I'll grift off of her grift.
Why not? There you go.
First Mama's podcast. You're welcome.
Someone get Hotep Jesus on the phone. We got a new award winner.
I'm all for it. I mean, as long as she helped, as long as she helped at least one child,
right,
then all the more power. She helped one child, but we don't know.
Worth it. Yeah, that's what I would like to see. How did you get in so quickly and so tight with Twitter, with the head of trust and safety?
I think she just exploited this thing that was close to Elon's heart, and
she was always talking about a child porn case like that's been going on for years, wasn't she?
That's true. She was the two boys. The John Doe's. Yep. Yeah, she's been talking about that for a while. So that was kind of her initial way into Twitter and being.
Yeah, she did a good job with her branding. She really how many other social media influencers specialize in sex trafficking. She kind of cornered the market on that. And
exactly.
She was like the trafficking girl.
And covered her bases for the last 10 years. So we weren't going to find any World Star videos because she was being trafficked at the time. Why would we look into that?
Well, I actually did work for her. So I did a portrait of her for some promotion she was doing. and I was looking for reference pictures, and I did find that video like last year, and I just thought nothing of it. I just said, "Oh, okay, I guess she did this."
We all twerk in the desert at one point or another.
Listen, I don't know what the fuck she was doing.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody had a problem with that. It was like you're gonna censor somebody for taking a screenshot of the twerking in the desert, which is fine.
Well, this is the other weird thing about this is it was about a year ago after the Epstein not suicide happened, and I was telling her like, hey, just so you know, like I'm happy to have on any of Epstein's survivors on my show because that's the type of stuff that I cover, and I mean not that particularly, but just stuff that like the mainstream media won't cover is kind of what I try and cover, and like I wanted Maria Farmer or any of the other, higher profile Epstein people to come on and explain what they had gone through because I felt like it would be a really interesting conversation. And I never heard back, but then she sent out this tweet just like dragging everybody saying like no one will have the Epstein survivors on and blah blah blah. And I immediately replied to her and I was like, yo, I DM'd you like a week ago saying, hey,
she meant everybody bigger than you, Clint. She
I
meant
know,
Daily Wire. She meant
Right.
like all the big guys.
Right. No, and she clarified
Not that you're not big, but like
I'm
you're
not.
newer.
Yeah,
You're
no,
newer and like,
But it just rubbed me the wrong way because like I had asked for it specifically. I was like,
Yes.
yo, I want to help here, and I got nothing. So
yeah. Interesting. All right. Speaking of grifting, I'm going to blow through a couple of these. Hunter Stevens, the only one who came out of all this drama smelling like a rose is Chrissie because she always smells like. All right. Save it for Simpcast, Hunter. Doctor for 5. You should totally let boring Jeremy on. He obviously wants to interject. Is valuable insight, not to be confused with Jeremy Boring. Oh, from the Daily Wire. I think Jeremy went to sleep. No mas senor buen chico. Tough Love podcast. Eliza Bleu haven't listened yet, but there is an interesting photograph on the Audacity page, and this is the episode which Eliza, says herself best represents her story.
Well, then that's worth watching.
Voice of the People. Eliza tried to be a dirty movie star under the name of Dasha as well. No, really? I'll have to look into that.
What hasn't she done?
Dasha. Merson for 5. Quartering cancels while taking cheap shots. People pal. He's not covering the story. It's kind of sad that being said,
I do believe he
has snakes in the grass. All right, maybe his space bar got sticky. Maybe your space bar is covered in cum. Geek Lord, the eyes say it all. Thank you. Zeknik for 20. I got a personal love-hate for Josie. Your climate change melting Arctic cap video makes me mad, but it's hard for me to be mad at a beautiful woman. Keep up the good work.
Aww.
Be better at science, love. You can do better. Wow. This is like a compliment sandwich.
Anthropogenic global warming is nonsense. Get out of here, Zeknik.
We call that negging.
Yes. Ooh. He's trying to neg you.
Yeah, I even put the right salt content into my my glass. I know some people are really sensitive about melting ice caps, but my experiment was right.
So climate change is a myth?
Yes.
No.
I mean, the climate is changing. It's just
it's changing.
Feel like
yeah. It's not changing in the way that they think it is. Yeah, we tested the Archimedes principle. It was completely correct and a flawless experiment. So,
Ooh,
but you can still love me. Yeah. I put it on my page. I'll send it to you.
I think we need to get rid of a couple billion people just to be safe, but whatever.
Yeah, we need to play.
Save it for Davos, Lobster.
She's grooming Elon.
She's grooming Elon.
Damn. Is it possible to groom a robot?
Oh man, sure. I mean, he got with Amber Heard.
You can't rape a robot. It's not rape with a robot top. Just so
sure.
Or unless it's
because they don't have any self-awareness.
Yeah, that's coming. Zeknik, sorry, Jeremy, you're losing perspective. You're playing into the drama like always. By the way, Chrissy, does your fiance have family ties to Mark Pellegrino? Oh, he's an actor, right? I don't think so. I think he was on my podcast. He was. Brett
Mark's
ain't
awesome.
Dead. Eliza appears to have trafficked herself. LMAO. I always have to remind myself not to say Lamau.
You should just say Lamau.
Lamau. Meow. Shane seems to
It's like
be
a French
crushing on
dictator.
Eliza. Yes.
Shane is happily married. I think that he'll be objective if he.
Oh, you
suspects
can't.
foul play.
Oh, once you get married, your eyes stop working. Okay.
I don't know the guy well enough. At this point, I don't know anybody. I'm just gonna stop assuming people are good people.
David Neve, watching her on Timcast was hard. Something didn't seem or feel real, but felt hard questioning as a guy because of what she said she went through. This is exactly what we're saying.
Was he saying he felt hard watching her on Timcast? I don't understand. What
Yeah, he got hard watching her.
All right. Sticky keyboards. Okay,
Kept
cool.
looking. He was entranced by the puffy sleeves. Zetniks.
Yeah, what was up with that? That should be like a red flag. No one's mentioning that. Like she's dressed like a bad person from the Hunger Games or something. Like,
People
what was
are
that
mentioning
about?
it. People are mentioning it. Zetniks, Josie is the best rep for libertarianism. Those legs are fire. Sorry, Josie. Seriously, that is wholly beautiful and very sexy. Mostly smart too, but I have my criticism. Much love, Josie.
Bro, have you seen my legs? Get out of here.
Yeah. What about that? What about that?
What's up, dude?
How about
Me and Clint
that?
shared a hotel room. It was an experience. You guys are missing out.
And you said my legs are sexy. I remember.
I did say that. now we said it again.
You're being a Clint tease.
I appreciate the compliment. Thank you.
See, not everyone thinks you're photoshopped, Josie.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Well,
free
I haven't photoshopped.
free Crip Daddy. Fuck this shit. I'm
Free
pissed
Crip
off.
Daddy. I think he got suspended or banned because he tweeted something about Eliza.
Yeah, he got
What
a
did he-
7 day.
What did he do? I don't even
7
know.
days.
He did exactly what this person is saying. He just
For
I didn't know if he
retweeting?
did a timeout for retweeting Eliza files.
I
Dude,
was
that's
silent. I was
crazy.
silent on this shit until like now she's targeting crippled people. This is just not cool. And I'm angry about it.
Yeah.
No, Crip Daddy's our homie, so like I will
Yeah.
ride for dude. Like that's ridiculous.
Don't
Bros
fuck
before
with the
hoes.
crippled. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wheels before hose. That's what I always say. Godzilla. Maybe someone reacts and feeds her lines to say, "Oh, I don't know if it's that deep." Cannabis wellness party. For me, it comes down to: is she a fraud or is she legit?
Yeah, that's the whole question, dude.
That's why we're here. Keek Lord, Josie, you need Sugar Papa for a good cum. Owned Jesus, for a good cam.
Wound Mike.
For
For a good
Oh
cam.
my
Mike,
God.
hit me up.
You need a
Chrissy,
good Tammon.
what's wrong with your fans? Jesus Christ, I haven't been able to read one of these super chats. They're like,
Well,
dude.
that's a whole nother episode there. Wasted people. I can prove my claim of the dirty movie
All right,
star.
well, then
Okay,
prove it,
yes,
homie.
Send us a
yeah,
link.
DM me pictures. My DMs are
I
open.
kind of want to watch a dirty movie now.
Yeah. If Eliza was trafficked into physical sex work, no one in her family would have noticed. BS. Her dad would be championing that very cause. She likely disappointed her parents and concocted this story. Right. If your dad is a congressman, you're telling me and you're having trouble getting out of a sex trafficking situation, like
I think he's a state rep, right?
Illinois. And weren't those
Somebody said
pictures
something
like during
about-
her trafficking? There was those pictures of her with the family, and that was like during her trafficking.
Yeah, she's been in pictures like with dad, like public.
Well, she
Dad.
said. I mean, she
Something
said that
about Lieutenant Governor, I thought.
she
Maybe
said
he's
she
run
was
for
free to
federal?
go throughout this entire thing, and that it was more of a Stockholm syndrome where she just kept returning to it. But I mean, at some point, you're like, I mean, you did this for a decade, and you could leave at any time, and I don't know. I like honestly, I like at that point, is it a crime even? I don't know if
Sounds
it's a
like
crime.
you were dating someone. That sounds like
Right.
a relationship you couldn't get out of. Like,
See-
let's hear specifics on. I had to give him X amount percentage of my income.
Right,
I had to go have sex with this person for $100. I had to give him 80, and I could keep the change. You know, like
I got other questions too. Like this is fucked up because I feel like I'm talking shit, but I see that she's always on a ranch. Like, does she own this place? Because
it's her
I got a ranch
parents'
and it's
property.
expensive.
Yeah, it's the
It's her,
parents.
Okay.
it's her parents.
All right.
It's
Huh.
where the alleged halfway humanity house is that she fake opened.
With the bad internet.
With the bad internet, yeah, with
Oh,
her
no.
non-existent internet. Zach Nix, no, but I will challenge Josie all day. The best should be challenged.
Jesus Christ, Simpcast like a motherfucker in here.
Josie, you look trafficked. Were you sitting on the floor? What's going on? Someone trafficked your furniture?
I'm hiding in my laundry room so I don't wake up my kids.
Aw, that's
Nice.
so cute.
I'm in my wife's closet right now, so I don't wake up my kids. So
Oh
respect.
my god, I love this. I love all the
Yeah.
closeted podcasting we're doing.
That's not the only reason I'm closeted, but you know, Clint, you know what's
That's a
up,
whole
man.
other
Oh, I
episode.
know, brother. I know. We spent a very hot night in the hotel room.
All these nice comments toward Josie make me want to be mean to Josie, but she's really nice,
You
so I'm not
can't.
gonna
You
do that.
can't. She's just too hot and smart.
You can be
Stewie,
mean. It's okay.
the Eliza Bleu stuff is crazy as hell, but I can't support a snake like Brittany Venti. Oh, we got a Brittany Venti detractor in the
Why is
chat.
Brittany a steak? Is there some backstory there?
I don't know about that. She's a friend of mine. I think she's been still locked out of Twitter this whole time.
She's always seemed nice to me. I don't know.
Is it like she's just not going to delete the tweet, or is she waiting? to
It
get back in?
sounds like it. It sounds like she.
That's what it sounds like.
Good. I like people that stand on principle.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see what she does. So, in summation, sometimes you get duped in this podcasting world, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't want her to get canceled. I just want the truth. I don't want to, shame her out of town or something. I don't know.
I think it's
clear the
time.
shit up.
I think this is as good a time as any for me to come clean. I never owned a mortgage company.
I knew it.
And I got into the very lucrative libertarian podcast circuit to change my life.
Yeah, I'm gonna come clean too. I don't own a t-shirt company. If you buy anything from toplobster.com, it's not gonna get there because I don't even fucking sell t-shirts.
Yeah.
I don't do designs. All this stuff is fake. I'm glad I could share this on your podcast. Thank you, Chrissie Mayr.
Yeah, I feel a lot better. There's a lot of
Yeah.
weight off my shoulders.
I would also like to come clean. I walk around with a filter on all the time. I always look like this.
I knew it.
It's totally fake. Figaro is fake. Everybody's fake.
I want to come clean too. I'm not a real redhead.
Holy shit.
I dye this, and in fact, like the carpets don't even match the drapes because I have hardwood floors. So it feels good to get that off my chest.
What color are the hardwood?
I fucking love you.
Dude, I have this new waxer lady. I've now gone to her twice. And she, like a barber at the end of the wax, I was just there on Monday, held up a tiny mirror to my cooch so I could see the handiwork. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, get that. I want to see that shit. It looks like a crying baby down there. I'm like, I don't want. It's all fucking red and angry. Like, wait a minute. Give me a. I want to wait to let a day go by before I stare that thing in the face after a wax. It's got to calm down. And then most people, you just hold yourself in a cannonball, and then she'll wax your butthole. No, she has me look around onto my stomach and literally hold my cheeks apart, and then she gets in there with the hot, and it's like she's literally carrying on a conversation while I'm laying down holding my ass open.
Oh man,
I think she's Romanian.
My side. Oh my god.
There might be some unflattering pictures of Chrissie Mayr soon. So, Jesus Christ.
Or very flattering.
Yeah, I don't think
what you're into.
I don't think that's standard. I think you should see somebody different.
I don't know. I honestly felt trafficked by my waxer. I can't believe I didn't like the mirror, and I didn't like having to hold open my own cheeks.
Oh, no,
I appreciate the hardwood floors comment, Chrissy, more than you even know.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what am I tipping you for? I have to hold my own ass. What is this?
It's fucked up.
What is this, a third world country? Zach Nix, I have a secret hate for Josie. I just think she's on the right track.
Zach Nix, you need to relax.
I know.
No, simping. I like the simping voice to people. Chrissy, in your Insta under Rich Hard, brace well. Okay. And lastly,
that was for the porn, just so you know.
Oh, okay. Camera, not geez, Chris. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Well, we learned a lot today. We all came clean about something. Jessica?
I didn't, because I'm perfect. I'm perfect.
Are those even real shoes behind you?
I'm perfect.
You have more to disclose than any of us. and you know it.
No, I
Dun,
don't.
dun,
What are you talking
dun.
about? I'm so innocent. I'm the most innocent. I do everything in public. Y'all
That's
see.
true.
I do
That's
everything
true.
in public.
Keeps it real. Brian McKay, I love me a sciencey broad. Sup, Josie? A lot of Josie sims.
Sup?
We have to get Josie on Simcast.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get on there. Sup? What was his name that said that?
That's Brian.
Brian.
He's the first part of
Brian.
the problem. Shout out to Brian. What's up?
Brian.
Hi, Brian. Sup?
That's my homie Brian, and he's fucking shouting out Josie. Dude, I feel betrayed.
I know.
betrayed by
It's
a lot
like,
of
Clint,
people.
dude, do you even have any friends anymore? It's like the people
for
you
real.
thought were your friends at the beginning of this episode. It's like,
Brian and I like kicked it at
Oh.
Skankfest the whole time. He's like getting me into fucking backstage stuff, and now it's like I don't even exist. You see one ginger, you see two gingers, and all of a sudden,
You gave
my
it up.
pale
You
ass
gave
just
it up,
fucking
Clint.
gone.
You gave it up. You're not. He doesn't care anymore. You gave it up.
it's
and now
almost
fine.
like men can be compromised by a pretty woman.
Man,
On that note, Forest Mommy, where can people find you?
I actually just got my original Forest Mommy account. So everyone go to at Forest Mommy on Twitter, and I got a link tree there and everything. So I had to delete a picture to get it back, but it's been over a year. It's great.
That's awesome. That happened today.
Nice.
Yesterday it came back.
Good stuff.
That's
I
great.
appeal exactly like
Congratulations.
Thanks. I appealed it exactly like I have a million times, and then it just fucking worked. So
I think this might be true.
Filipino
Actually,
dictator's wife. I don't know if that's true.
is that true, Forrest Mom?
yeah, is Malda what's her name? I can't say it right now.
Maldonado.
Malda. That lady, Amalda, is Malda. I'm not cultured enough to know.
Oh,
There's a lady who had a bunch of shoes who was like a dictator's wife. Everyone goes, "Oh, hey, you're like her."
Oh,
Thing.
I get it.
Sorry.
Clint Russell.
Yes. One of my strikes will be falling off of my YouTube, so make sure you go subscribe over there. It is just Liberty Lockdown, and then you can search Liberty Lockdown most places. You'll find me, audio podcasters and shit like that, and at Liberty Lockpod on Twitter. And last but not least, make sure you pick up some Liberty Lockdown merch over at toplobster.com.
Nice. Josie.
You can find me at TRHL Official on Twitter and TRHL Official on YouTube, and Queen Josie, KWEENJOSIE on Instagram, though that is not political at all. That's just a lot of pictures of Figaro, my cat. And I work over at Timcast. I do outside media there, so definitely follow there, subscribe, become a member. Mm-hmm.
Yes, all the things. I got yelled at for not putting you on the full screen so that everybody could see your laundry legs. You perv.
These dudes are perverts. Oh, by the way, if you pick up any of my merch at toplobster.com, it will not arrive. This dude's a total fraud. And I just want to be clear.
Top Lobster.
Hey, you can catch me at Top Lobster with an A, as it's spelled like right down there, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, wherever. Go to toplobster.com. Go to podcastmerch.com for Legion of Skank stuff and Part of the Problem. And check us out tomorrow at 9:11 p.m. on Tower Gang. We're gonna have Sam Tripoli on.
Tripoli is in the building.
Yeah, we're going full-blown nonsense conspiracy, so we'll probably talk about Eliza Bleu. It's gonna be, hey, Josie's dog.
It's Josie's dog's birthday today.
It is. He turned 8 today. He's such a sweet boy.
I'm sorry I put it on someone's dog while you're doing your plugs.
No,
but-
it's cool. I actually prefer that. Thank you for inviting me, Chrissy.
Yeah, thank you, Chrissy.
Thanks all of you for jumping on. Like it really did make
Hey,
the
Chrissy,
show.
thank you for nothing. I did not want to do this at all.
Wow, you should have said no then, Clint.
No. I had to explain it. I knew it. This had nothing to do with you. I'm just fucking around.
You felt like I put you in a position though, clearly.
No. I knew that at some point I was going to have to talk on this subject because of my episode with her, but I just didn't really want to do it. You know.
I feel you. You did great though, and I don't feel like you look bad in any of this, and people should.
No, I'm not, honestly. I'm not even worried about it. Like
Okay.
I just because I had what I thought was a genuine friendship with her. It just puts me in a really shitty position of having to make some sort of assessment without knowing definitively, and I just don't like that. That's all.
Yeah, I think you can just wait and see. I think that's what a lot of people are doing. Slosher Force Mommy, did you get your account locked out for the sparkler video? I don't know what that's about.
Oh, please tell people what the
Classic
sparkler
video.
video was.
Oh, when you put a sparkler in your butt, right?
This is why I
Well,
say
what-
I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to hide. No, but that didn't get me banned. No, that wasn't that. So
Because everyone loves a patriotic woman.
And you want to respect the grift. Homegirl got over $1,000 to put a sparkler.
I got
in her-
$1,700. I donated
yeah.
some and it helped me go to meet my other podcast host. It was for a good cause. It was for a good cause.
Thank you, Maori. I noticed Eliza has a Wi-Fi router in the background on the Liberty Lockdown interview.
Why is
Oh,
that?
maybe because she said in her Hotep Jesus interview that she didn't have internet.
Oh my
Then how would
God.
she be doing the interview? I don't know.
Here we go. This is what we're all saying. Okay. Check me out at DabbleCon this weekend in Rochester. Then I'll be in California, Pasadena, and San Diego the 23rd, 24th, 25th of February. Go to ChrissieMayr.com for tickets. This was a great show. Thank you all for coming on so much. And happy birthday
Thank
to
you.
Josie's dog who's biting her. She's
Yeah.
getting attacked by her dog. He's like, it's my birthday. I'll attack you
He's
if I
just
want.
really affectionate.
That's like all your fans in the chat right now.
Yeah, that's what they are so jealous. That's what they want to be doing. Like, man, I want to bite your arm.
You want to attack Josie in her laundry room?
This explains all the
God.
typos in the super chats.
I'm gonna have to go back and read these. This is gonna be a disaster.
Also, face bars. Thank you guys. Thank you to the chat for your questions. Appreciate you. And we will see you next time. Bye.